You're listening to the Here for the Clout podcast. Here are your hosts, Sherilyn Dale and Cece Suarez. Yeah, baby.
Hello, Clout queens, kings, and in-betweens. My name is Chelsea Suarez, and this is Sherilyn Dale. Welcome back to the Here for the Clout podcast.
We have gathered you here today for what may be our final episode, our funeral, if you will. And we just thought it was fitting that if we're going to go out with a bang, we're going to go out with a mother bang and look like this. So if the mood's somber at this start point, great. It's the point.
R.I.P. Here for the Clout podcast. You would have loved this. Clink.
You would have loved this. All right.
Okay, hold on. I gotta get my hair back to big because if we're gonna get canceled,
Yeah.
I want to look hot doing it. Now, those were jokes because here's the thing. We stand by our opinions and our takes, and you can't be canceled if you don't allow it to happen. And guess what, girl? I would never allow that to happen to myself. Anyways, so welcome back to the Here for the Clout podcast. You already get that. But today we're covering something that we already filmed an entire episode on. However, we got so heated during the episode and after a night of reflection and our researcher checking in on us about 5 times and asking if we're okay and how we were feeling. We were like, you know what? I think we should probably refilm that and collect our thoughts a little bit better. So here we are.
I agree.
Take 2.
I'm feeling way better. I'm glad we did it this way. Love having people in our team that check in on us, see how we're doing. As you guys know from the thumbnail, we are talking about the controversy that is going on with Avery Woods right now. And as I'm sure you guys can probably tell by the intro, I think Chelsea and I are on a side that is not popular. So we're a little nervous about that, not because we don't stand by everything that we're going to say and present to you and why we feel the way that we are. It's just like, for me specifically, a little bit of like a scary place to be. But I know that there's other people out there who feel the same and maybe just don't know how to like say or articulate it. And I think that there's a lot of not technically misinformation, but like taking something, running from it, and like misconstruing what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I did have a little disclaimer that I did want to just like quickly mention here.
And I think that's so good to start out with a disclaimer, because some of the things we're going to talk about, you might not agree with. And you're, like we said, you might not agree with our takes on things. However, there's important key things to understand here before you just go buck wild on us. And we're going to talk about that like nuance of this entire situation too. And that's actually kind of like what we're focusing on more than what Avery Woods, which we'll get into who she is, what happened, blah, blah, blah. More than what she actually said in the podcast episode that she did. We're focusing more on, which we're going to cover it, yes, but we're more so focusing on like the nuance of it, the conversation around it, the hypocrisy, the misinformation, and that whole aspect of this. And I think that that is something very important to go over.
Agreed. And yeah, so we're also coming into this time with having watched the entire podcast, which I think is not happening right now.
And
granted, yes, we
more of her videos and other of the podcast,
yes, of her other content, yes, and our other podcast videos or episodes prior to even signing on with Unwell. But granted, we did watch the one that was already like edited to take out clips that people are talking about. However, we had already seen those clips and know exactly where they fit after seeing the full episode, so we can kind of like walk you guys through that. I just want to say, if you guys have not seen the full episode of that, or you know, like you're coming here randomly and not somebody that follows us and is just like see something and you're like ready to go with the pitchforks, like, and you don't want to watch the whole episode and hear what we say, that's fine, but please like don't partake in this like commenting and dogpiling of like, oh, this is like, we know exactly the type of people she is, the exact type of people you are,
because you don't know us or her. You don't know any of these people.
We don't know any of these people. I'm just like basically going with looking at the full picture. And it's no lie that I've followed and watched her content for a long time. So I do feel like I don't know her. She's my internet bestie, like in my mind. I do feel like just like based off what I've seen of her, I have like a little bit of grasp of like the type of like dark humor, some of the like trauma that she's gone through, which is like kind of similar to mine. So I get it. And I think a lot of people who are finding her in that episode are going by clips who have no idea who she is.
Well, and also they don't have the perspective of being an influencer as well as we do, which is also a huge aspect of this.
I think it's a big part too. Yeah. I totally think it is. Okay, so let's start with who Avery Woods is for anybody who doesn't, and then we'll go why people are mad.
Yeah. So Avery Woods is a TikTok influencer, a content creator, and a podcaster as well. She obviously started on TikTok, and she used to be a pediatric nurse. Her husband used to be a first responder. He was in law enforcement, and they have been married for how long?
I think like 10 years, or they've been like together for 10 years.
Yes, they've been together for like 10 years. They have 3 kids together.
They have 2 kids together, and then he had 2 kids in a prior marriage. Like she's a very involved like stepmom too. They all seem to like have a really good relationship.
Love that a lot. She has made a lot of content about her life, really a lot of lifestyle content, and I would definitely say that it is along the lines of like unfiltered, so to speak. And when I say unfiltered, I don't literally mean like there's never a filter. She never does any editing or anything like that. I mean how she really does seem to be open and honest about brand deals or like just the transparency there. I love that. You know, she, after getting a nose job, she did a podcast episode that said like RIP to the honker or something like that. I was dead. It was so funny. But yeah, she has talked about that, you know, getting like laser treatments or, you know, whatever done, cosmetics procedures. And I love that. I think it's, if you don't want to talk about it, fine, but like don't lie about it. And I really do get all boned up when she does talk about that. And then also being very sex positive is amazing too. I love that so much. I think it's important if it makes other people uncomfortable. Okay, but whatever, then don't watch that person. Problem solved.
Don't watch, yeah.
Yeah. So Avery Woods also, I always like to try to pull it back to, you know, you may remember them from this controversy or that controversy. So Avery Woods, so she, during the whole pajama gate, for the memes, for the moms situation, she was kind of pulled into it because she was actually friends with both of them, mainly with the Cicely. Is that her name? Cecily?
I think so.
Some white bitch.
One of the Bachman sisters, and then like kind of brought the other one in, and that's why like they ended up getting like the platform they do. And it seems like she does that with a lot of the people close in her life. Like if she's eating at a table, she wants her loved ones to eat as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if there's an opportunity to be given, she's the one to do it.
A rising tide lifts all boats, and I love when people are like that. There's no competition. There's enough eyes and ears to consume all of our content. Okay, calm down. So I think that's really important. Love that so much. And then there's the other one that was like when she was talking about like being a boy mom, and it was super cringy in my opinion, and like, ugh, don't do that. Can you explain it like a little blurb of it, and then we can find it and play it just so people, because I feel like that's what people know her the most from.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the main things that like had people coming for her, because again, I think that a lot of this is people who just like are like scrolling on the FYP, see someone for the first time and taking like that one clip at face value of like all of their content. So it was basically like, oh my God, I love my daughter. Like I love her so much. She's so cute. And she's like, but oh my God, like my son's school photos just came in, and like how freaking amazing is he? Like he's got my heart. You know, like if you watched her content, you know that this woman is infatuated with her husband and her kids, her step and natural children. Like she talks about them all the time, but it was one of those clips that just went, and then there was a whole thing about like this, all the boy mom controversy. So I think that was one of like the main ones, her basically people saying that she doesn't love her daughter, which to me is so wild, because if you watch any of her content, like she's obsessed with her kids.
Yeah. And I
and her husband.
My boy moms feel me on this, but my son has my heart and my soul. I obviously am obsessed with Stevie Lee. She is just the greatest little girl in the world. But my whole life, I always wanted to be a boy mom. And I remember when I found out I was pregnant with him, and I was just ecstatic because I was such a tomboy growing up. Anyways, the whole point of me making this video is I had to share his preschool photo with you, because when I tell you I opened up this email and I just hysterically cried. He is just everything. First of all, let me show you his photo from last year, because the difference 1 year makes, my heart is crushed. That's all I got for today. I just had to share that because I have been staring at that photo all day long. Squeeze your babies. Time truly flies by. I don't know how he's going to be 6 this year and going into kindergarten. I can't talk about it or else I'll cry.
And then also more recently, she was, I don't want to say like she went viral for it, but she was a part of like another viral moment on the internet of the Poppy vending machine scandal, because she received one of those, but people were praising her of like how she went about it instead of, posting something out of touch, like in a way to, like in attempts to be funny. She said like, yeah, I had it delivered to my friend's house, and then after we use it for like this one party we're having, then we're going to take it all to, the local hospital or like the fire department or whatever.
I think her friend, her best friend who still works in the hospital that she worked at, like she was going to take everything for like the nurses and the doctors and like patients or whoever could like use it over there. And we did talk about that, how we loved and appreciated that. I think that was, again, a misconception of people being like, oh, but like, did you keep it? It was never delivered to her house. She literally, again, said like, I'm not hosting a Super Bowl party. This would be, instead of coming to my house for like whatever, this moment, can you guys drop it off to my friend's house, because that's where we're going to have our Super Bowl party, and like have this delivered to like her friend's house. Like, I just think that there are moments, if you look for them, where you not even look for them, if you just go on her page, where that's like the type of person that I don't know her personally, but that I think shows her character.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday. We were at our best friend's house. Poppy asked if they could deliver a soda machine for the Super Bowl party, and we said absolutely. As you know, our best friends are first responders as well as the majority of people in our life. So everyone coming today is a police officer, nurse, dispatcher, someone that makes a difference. We have so many amazing poppies for them, and then Ashley brought the rest to work for all the nurses that are working on Super Bowl Sunday. This was delivered a few days ago. I have not seen it, so let's go check it out.
Yeah, I think the way her best friend Scotty talks about her though too, I think that shows her character as well. And I think when like no other influencers who like have worked with you and who do know you, when they like don't really have anything, bad to say about you. Like for instance, even Josh, Dad Challenge podcast, like I had worked with him and collabed with him closely for what, a year-ish. And I literally talked to him yesterday, and he like asked me for a video clip or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, hold on. Like I have to ask Hannah. And so I asked Hannah for it, then got it. Actually forgot to send it to him today. So I have to send it to him after, but he like, people have even said like, oh, well, Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. And like, I'll stick up for him too with, regarding certain stuff. Cause I think that speaks volumes, your colleagues, saying certain things about you and all that. And, those are the people who sure know you professionally, maybe not personally, but yeah, I just think that's very, very interesting. And we do need to keep in mind like the parasocialness of it all. This type of conversation has a lot of nuance. And yes, we're going to make jokes here and there because we're silly, goofy, and just two dumb white boys with podcast mics. Okay. And another thing that just came to mind, because it's going to come up later, is that a lot of people on the internet don't like how she talks about how she overshares about like sexual things, right? And like her and her husband will literally talk about, anal and butt plugs and blah, blah, blah. And due to us, refilming and having more time to go over things, I even told Sherilyn, I was like, I'm going to just go through like her catalog of content and watch as many podcast episodes as I can so I can get a better feel of what she's usually like on podcast episodes. And so I watched one of her.
Which I think is important.
Yes, very important. And so I watched one of her and her husband. I was dying laughing. And I even told Tony, I was like,
I love them.
Yes. I was like, Tony, I'm watching this podcast episode of this couple. And I was like, this man has said more.
And it's you guys.
What?
It's you and Tony.
But Tony would never talk about that type of stuff on camera.
No, Brent wouldn't either.
Yeah. But also they don't have, the professional jobs anymore. Right. Which yes, it is professional. I get it, whatever. But like, they don't have normal jobs. They are their own boss. They don't have anyone to answer to. And that's their comfort level. They're fine with it. I mean, I'm comfortable talking about that stuff on the internet.
Yeah, we talk about it, but I love seeing that from them, like from a couple, like who like seems relatable in a sense, like, like just out, like, of course, like she like went viral and stuff, and she's killing it in financially, but like she's still the same person as that person. If you go back and look at her first video, she's literally still the same person. She's made it to where she has because of being authentic, being relatable, like having that space of open conversation that people like shy away from, and to like see that as a couple and have like their banter. And I don't know, it just like, it's refreshing to see of somebody that's just like not worried about having conversations that you know your audience is curious about. A lot of the times people write in and want these questions answered. And so they talk about them together, like as a husband and wife, and it's hilarious. Like it's so well done.
So yeah, I mean, some people don't like that. And I know it's bold of me to say this, as we're literally, like, I talk about these types of people on the internet every day. It's my job. But again, preface there, it's my job. And I think it is so weird when people like obsess over this shit and just talk shit on the internet for free. Like, girl, could not be me. Weird. Oh, good God. So, like I said, a lot of people don't like her for, you know, oversharing and all that. And whatever. If you don't like it and it's not your vibe, go somewhere else. Who cares? Get over it.
Yeah, it's totally cool.
Touch grass.
It's fine.
Yeah. But she also has a podcast, and it is called Cheers. And she does a lot of like interviews as well with other, you know, influencers or whatnot. And then also she does like saucy confessions where like people will write in, and, you know, it's sex based basically. And people, you know, will do like just funny like stuff like that and send it in. And then she will go over it like just by herself, or like her and her husband, or her and her assistant / producer / sometimes co-host, Scotty, who's her gay husband.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think those are really funny. And she now is in obviously controversy. And that's why we're here now, because of one of the most recent podcast episodes that she did. But her podcast was just signed to the Unwell Network. And the Unwell Network, Sherilyn, take it away. Tell us about the Unwell Network.
So the Unwell Network is basically Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, her podcast network, where she has other podcasts under her umbrella. So Unwell is Alex Cooper's brand. And Avery just signed on Grace O'Malley, Brie LaPaglia, Plan Brie, her ex-best friend. She just signed on, and there's other people, but Harry Jowsey is also on this, which was Avery Woods' first guest with her first episode on the network. We have thoughts on all of this about like signing with networks. I get it, like in terms of the opportunity, but if like she made her own studio in her like guest house, I don't get it. Because sometimes I do think that these situations don't necessarily have like your best interest, and not to say that that was like Alex Cooper's intention at all, but not that it's not your best interest, but it's like a money grab. Like if you still kept going, you wouldn't be having to like split anything. You already had your own studio. You were killing it by yourself. Actually, when I was looking back on her numbers, she was doing better with just her interviews, not interviews, but like her banter with her, Scotty, her by herself, or her and her husband, than she was with interviews. So I'm like, girl, like you should have just, or if there's an opportunity, like just still do that. But anyways, what happens when you've got like people in production and you've got other podcasts that you're wanting to, or like that network is trying to push up, you don't really have a lot of control on that. So her first episode was Valentine's Day. So they put her with Harry Jowsey, who is, if you don't know who he is, Harry Jowsey is basically
a serial dating reality show contestant. And he even calls himself that.
Yeah, and
well,
he
for lack of a
doesn't
better
have
term,
the best reputation for being very loyal, very good as a partner. He again like self-admits that, like he's got a lot of work to do on that, but he still like plays into that like boyish. So
he plays into the character, for sure.
I thought the concept of the episode was good because it was like asking questions about like his dating life and like dating a guy like that. And what I thought was interesting, we can get into this later, but I just want to, put out there to put a pin in it, is Alex Cooper also interviewed him when he first signed on. Again, this is like what you do. This is like your new guy under you. His podcast is called Boyfriend Material, by the way, which again, like they're playing off of this. And same thing, like she's a married woman. They talked about sex the whole time. I just have issues with it. Anyways, that was her first guest. It didn't go well based on viral clips, I will say. And Chelsea agrees with this. We're like, are we broken? Because we watched the whole thing and the episode was good.
Well, so yeah, yeah. In all caps, we were both like, wait, I like this episode.
Granted, yes, but what we will say, by that point, the clips that were causing controversy were taken out, but now we know where they were and we can put into context. So why are people mad about this? They are mad because they're saying Avery, and again, I don't know why this is all Avery, because they were having a conversation and he, again, would lead a lot of this like conversation too, like the little tidbits that she would like play off of. But they're mad about mocking Jesus and her saying that her vagina was pristine because she had had a C-section. Off the bat, do we agree with making a joke about rape, period? No. I think given context to what actually transpired during the interview prior to that one clip and what they talked about before, gives a little bit more insight, not a pass, but I think that it gives insight.
Yeah, 100%. There was a lot of booty talk,
yes,
for sure. And I do think that hearing the full episode is important if you are going to try to form an opinion. And I mean, yeah, you can have any opinion you want. I mean, hey, we're on a podcast literally giving our opinions, but I do think that you are just making a fool of yourself if you don't have all of the context. And hey, you can watch all of that and still be like, I don't like her. Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
100%. And I do think that there were many ways that she could have articulated like her experience with religious trauma and like the experience also that she's gotten from, so she had her own personal religious trauma. And then she, it was kind of affirmed when she's like, the majority of the people who are in my comments, sending me hate, like saying the most vile things are the people who have like a Bible verse quote in their bio, and then their whole page is like how much they love God and like how Christian they are. That was like the tone of it. Again, or were there better ways that she could have articulated it without going back to like a joke that her and Harry had already talked about? Yeah.
So let's go ahead and, because we just want to say that right off, but let's go ahead and just play the clip that has since been deleted from the podcast episode. Again, after it was already posted, but they deleted it once they started getting backlash. But let's go ahead and play that.
But all my haters have like blessed mama 4 in their bio, and they're like, you're a fat, ugly mom. You're a whore. Your kids are like just fucking bullshit. And I'm like, but then in your bio, it's like Psalms 369, blessed mommy of 4.
Yeah, like Jesus is gonna spank you, lady, if you keep it up.
Yeah, literally, he's gonna bend you over and your. Jesus is gonna go poo pirate on your ass if you keep up this bullshit.
And I hope he does. Jesus.
They deserve it with no lube.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
Am I like matching your energy?
No, you're great.
I feel like I'm the.
So before we get into like, well, let's break that down. Let's go ahead and go over some of the reactions on the internet, because there were a few, the blonde girl specifically. Do I know anything about her? No, I don't like her. I do not like this take, and it is so cringe. So let's go over some of our least favorite, or the loudest rather, the ones that have like gotten the most traction and views and stuff of the reactions to this, because I truly just think it's crazy. Again, I don't know this girl. I've never seen any of her content. However, I don't like this take, but it's fine.
Hot take, but let's talk about Avery Woods, since she wants to bash Jesus all over the internet to millions of her followers. It's not only embarrassing for her, it's embarrassing for her husband and her kids. The fact that you can go on your own podcast with Harry Jowsey and talk about how you don't believe in Jesus, how you don't want to, whatever, that's fine. I'm not bashing you for not believing in Jesus. I'll pray for you. I pray that she will open her heart to him and realize how much love he.
that statement.
So this
exactly what Avery was talking about. Do we want to talk about what the context? Yeah, I'm like, where do we start here actually?
All right. This is why we had to refilm this, because this, what is her name? Kate. Of course her name's Kaylee. Of course it is. This person.
One of my favorite subscribers is Kaylee.
I'm sure I probably have followers named Kaylee too, but hey, a common theme in this whole episode is it's not about you. It's about this bitch named Kaylee. Oh my God, this gets me so heated. So, hey, guess what? If you're here for the first time, first of all,
I don't think you should. Yeah, I don't think you should be if you came here because you. Oops. You found the wrong side of the internet, and that's okay. Just exit out. It's going to be okay.
Good God. Oof. Definitely don't leave anything about how like you're going to pray for us or in all caps. Repent in the comment section, because our followers will tell you that Jesus thinks you're cringe and that we're all cheeked up for Jesus. Anyway, so we both have made a career out of calling out high control groups, cults, shitty people on the internet, doing true crime stuff, doing anti-MLM stuff, covering things that are manipulative and just overall shitty, but presented in a pretty sparkly, bold glamour filter and given to you. However, it still smells like bullshit because it is. All right. A turd by any other name, still a turd, not to quote Shakespeare here. I'm on a roll, Sherilyn. This is it. Put your veil back on. So this bullshit is really frustrating to me because did she watch the episode? Did she even watch the clip? Yeah. Where in that, even though Avery Woods has stated before, she has talked about, religious trauma and, things like that. And, what she does believe or doesn't believe, whatever. Mm-hmm. That was never stated in this episode. So that right there, I feel like shows me that this girl did not watch the full episode and is taking what Avery did say about a lot of the people who were like the most vile to her and her comments, and the people who were just the worst type of people on the internet will go on and talk the worst shit ever, and you'll go to their profile and it will say, Jesus first, or, Christian mama, low tox Christian mama. Ma'am, don't make me come at you with a polio vaccine, okay? Because I will follow you around.
And
to save
the reason why we get it, and I absolutely believe her wholeheartedly, is because we've had the same. We've talked about this before multiple times. And so, what's the saying? There's no
hate like Christian love.
Yeah. Again, and this is
true.
Blanket, like not everybody. Just if you're a Christian, that's okay.
You're more agnostic, right?
I think so. I don't know what that is. I believe in being a good person. Whatever I believe in being a good person. I love other people who are good people who try their best. I understand that we are flawed. I try to give back when I can. Love people for how they are. I don't fearmonger. I don't fearmonger. I don't say like repent.
I don't faith manipulate.
No, I don't faith
in
manipulate.
All caps? What about lowercase?
Never lowercase.
Do you whisper it?
No.
In bed? Into Brent's ear?
No.
While you're on top?
You know what's funny? Is
that sounds hot.
As much as I don't, not that I don't believe in God in any way, I know that it's like my God. Like it's the God of Sherilyn and the way that I run my life. And guess what? We've been doing really good together. Like
So that's my too. And so agnostic loosely. Am I going to Google it? No, because I don't care. But that's the vibe of this podcast. But the thing is like agnostic is like, listen, I believe there is like a creator. There's something.
I believe there's something there. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I know there's something happening. Mm-hmm. I don't know where and when and how and who, but it's there, and and so that's like Tony and I go back and forth of like we're Presbyterian in our area, and like with our church at least is the most chill. Like we baptize, children of queer LGBTQ AI anything people. Clearly, hello, but I love that, and it's come as you are, and that's very much so how we are. However, in different areas, or even just down the street, there could be a cult that is Christian Presbyterian, right? So we say all of this as like, Sherilyn believes in this flying spaghetti monster. I also do 50% of the time, all of the time. But, you know, I consider myself as a queer woman, a queer bisexual woman married to a man. Hey, ladies, you know, I do consider myself a Christian.
Yeah.
Just because it's not the way you do it doesn't mean it's invalid.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the way you do it's weird and Jesus thinks you're cringe. Okay? So you repent. No, you first. But at the end of this episode, I have screenshotted a bunch of crazy Christians who are in the comment sections of my YouTube videos, and we will be reacting to some of my favorite ways that I've responded to them because it's hilarious.
I think it's good. Yeah, and I think that it's good to have those examples and understand exactly like what I think Avery was getting at, because like I said, we've had this before, you a lot more than I, because a lot of that falls into like how those MLM girlies get people because they use religion against like people to like recruit, right? It's like this, like God put this opportunity in your lap for a reason, and it's the faith manipulation of it all. So
well,
again,
that's using the Lord's name in vain. That's literally what it means.
And it's like, I want this to be blanket. We're not speaking about all Christians. And I don't think, I'm certain neither was Avery. She wasn't. She wasn't saying, hey, those types of Christians. No, exactly. And what's also being misconstrued is that she said that Jesus wants to rape people, and he was a rapist or something like that. Again, you didn't watch the episode because that's not
you
what
didn't watch the whole episode.
What she said at all. She said that for those people,
well, the clip where she talked to a doctor or watched a video, something talked to them or watched a video of a physician saying like, hey, this is the best way to have anal sex. And, you know, and Harry was like, well, share the tips. and she was like,
that was one of the best parts of the podcast because he had so much misinformation. They were talking.
It was so funny.
Let's lay this out for everybody, I guess, because we're already here now. They're having a conversation about kinks. And he's like, I don't really know. And then she's like spouting off stuff. Like, do you like to be like chained? Do you like this? Do you like anal?
Yes, leading the conversation because it's an interview.
Yeah. And
getting him more comfortable, and that's what you do when you're trying to make someone more comfortable.
Like, do you know Harry? Like, that's part of the shtick. Like, he's just this like, that's how he gets women. Like, watch any of his reality things. He's got this like sweet little boy thing. And then everyone's like, oh, like she's making this young boy. He's 27. She's 29. Like, what are we talking about here?
And we'll get into, we're getting a little crazy, but we'll get into that point in a second too.
Okay, yes. So
me too.
Sorry, you guys. So they talk about that, and then she says anal, and then he goes, oh, like no, and then she's like, oh, like whoa, like, you know, don't dog on my king kind of thing. Again, if you watch her, this is something her and her husband talk openly about on her podcast. And so she's like, well, what is it about it? Like, because I'm very surprised given your like track record. And is it like, are you just scared of like doo-doo? Like, what is it? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, well then that's like, it's not being done right. Like there's protocols, you know, like make sure that you have like healthy bowel movements. And she's like, I ended up like reading about this like from a doctor of like the healthiest way to do it. And it's, you know, have those bowel movements, use a lot of lube. What did she say? If you think you used enough, double that amount.
Double it. Well, and it's the lube tips from the Suarez bedroom, which I'm sure she probably uses this too. It's the most common, but it's for gays. Gun oil. Am I right, ladies? Well, I guess not ladies. How many gay guys do we have listen to our podcast? I don't know. At least one.
What? Okay, I gotta. Right. I was gonna ask what it is, but we can't. I'm gonna look into it later. You're gonna send it to me later because I do want to know about that. That was the conversation. Okay, so then he says, and we'll put a clip in here of that this exact moment. This happened before the Jesus comment. Okay, they're talking about this, and then he says, "Well, I don't know. I don't want to be like have poo all over me. It happened once. It was all over me. I'm not a poo pirate." So then they started kind of laughing about this poo pirate comment, okay? Then after that, there was a couple times also throughout the interview that are still in there that it was kind of like brought back because that was like a really funny part of it. And you know, like when
I had never heard anyone call it poo pirate, and I don't think she had either. So I don't know if it's like an Australian thing, but it was so funny. And he said it like 2 to 3 times. And then finally she was like, what is with the poo pirate?
Yeah,
and
so
then she started saying it too.
Yes, and so that moment was constantly brought back to, because yes, it was it was a funny moment in that conversation. She was dying. He was dying. Her producer, Scotty, who's obsessed with him, was dying in the background that you could hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like coconut smell. So it was like coconut smelling shit
No.
everywhere.
Okay, yeah, that's never happened to me, and I would tell you if it had. Okay, I got nothing to lose here. But I talk on
He
my
loves being a little
podcast.
poo pirate? It's crazy.
No, we don't have poo parties, Harry. What the
Oh, I
God,
don't
it's
know.
clean. It's skin
Show
colored
me.
when it comes out. Show me. I have a video. I'll show you later.
Wow.
But people ask me all the time on the podcast how to do it correctly because I read like, okay, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a nurse. I worked in the pediatric ICU for a lot of years. So that's like how whatever. Anyways, I was so anatomical when my husband told me that he was into that. I, of course, had to do research. So I read this book written by a doctor on how to do it like the safe way and not have poo out of your bum, as
And
you would say.
what's the word? You sit on a hose?
God, no.
Oh.
I'm not going to go through with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically, you
it's-
just need to have regular bowel movements,
So shitting.
and you need to, if you think you have enough lube, double it. Literally.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So when that comment came up about like the hate that they would get, Avery just talked about her experience saying that I like the loudest and meanest ones that I've got. I find it very ironic that they have Bible quotes in their bio. And he was like, yes, he also like understood that. And then he said, and they should have a spank, like Jesus should spank them. And she said, yeah, and then reverted it back to the anal without the lube because they were already talking about that and
Because
the poo
that's how you
pirate.
don't do it right.
Because exactly. So it was like doing it wrong because that's what people are, you know what I mean? So they weren't enjoying anal sex the way they should because they're not doing it wrong. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't him going out raping people. She went back to the conversation that was like the peak, not the peak, but at that moment, that was the funny banter that they had. That's what it was.
So in showbiz, we call that a runner because it's a running bit that you go back to.
Yes,
And
there you go.
do we think that, literally only know that term because of the Office Ladies podcast. Oh my God, I haven't listened to that in like so long. I need to listen to that again. Anyways, so yeah, it's frustrating because it's like, are you offended by it? Okay, but why are you offended by it? Did you watch the entire episode and understands that that was like an ongoing joke? And would I have made that joke? Probably not. And do I think maybe she like went a little bit too far? Yeah, probably. Is he arguably the one of the most famous people, especially like kind of mainstream, that she has had on her podcast? Yes. So do I think that she was nervous? Yes. And like not in her like comfy space of her house? Absolutely. And am I saying that making a joke about, you know, Jesus rape is okay? No, obviously not. Shut up. That's literally not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think that people are not only taking it out of context, because yes, a 41-second clip out of over an hour and a half long podcast, that is taking it out of context, especially when you don't understand that it was a callback to like multiple other jokes that they had made throughout. And I hate that. Now, did she say at any point, back to this bit, did she say at any point, did she bash Jesus? No. Did she bash Christians? No, not at all. And then for this person to say, I'll pray for her and her kids and her husband, and I really think that it's embarrassing for her and her kids and her husband. Is it? Because no, it's not.
No, it's not. Like she lives her life. She's so open with it. Like her older daughters know. They've been on the podcast. Of course, they haven't spoken like in depth of whatever, but you have these conversations with your family. They know the banter. I'm sure the humor. Of course, they're not embarrassed. You know, like my daughter, I know that some of her friends watch, you know, they're 19 years old. So I think Haley proceeds with caution, but she knows me. Like I have very similar conversations. She knows that she can come to me with any question. She knows how open I am. Of course, I'm not going to like get into detail about like the experiences that I have with like my husband to have to subject her to it. Or if I do want to, then I'll say, hey, Hales, like maybe just skip 10 seconds, right? It's just because because that's not our audience also. She's not doing this podcast for her kids to like go back and look at. Do you think they're going to want to? I hate that. I hate that sentiment. You're
But you're a
embarrassing.
mom.
Like, you're a mom. You can't talk about this stuff. You're a mom. You can't talk to another man. While you referenced your husband how many times in the podcast, she constantly talked about her husband in it.
Yep.
So you're giving stepdaddy energy.
I would love it.
Not for me.
No.
Don't turn this into a situation that's not okay, everyone. But
And if you see them together, like her and his name's David, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
her and David, their chemistry is amazing.
Over the top.
And
If
I
you
love
thought
it so
that
much.
Harry and her had chemistry or that she was making Harry uncomfortable. First of all, no. Harry initiated a lot of those compliments. You think she's going to sit there and be like, oh, don't compliment me, I'm married. No, she's like, oh my God, like, I've been married for 10 years. My husband's the only one who's like, keep it coming. Do you have the tape rolling back? Like, David, are you listening to
I
this?
thought that was so funny because
funny.
I literally would have said the same.
I said that too.
Oh my God, you think I'm pretty? You called me small? What?
Yeah,
I love that
she's
shit.
like, do you
The
want...
same.
who's your dream girl that you would die to hook up with that's like known in the public eye?
Damn, in this room or like just
Yeah, no, definitely let's start with this room and then
oh my God.
and then tell me. Oh, are you sweaty around me?
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh my God.
The
Are we getting
dream-
this?
Yeah, when he's like, oh, I'll send you merch. What size small? She was like, David.
It was so funny.
She talks about him and yeah, so if you think that whatever, watch her and her husband. Like that's love and
It's
a comfortable relationship. And he was there.
Yes.
He was there.
Well, so
I don't think
he
he was there
wasn't
when it was
there.
filming, but yes, like they had like a
Later in the day,
Yes,
he was
a
there
party.
at an event
Yes.
with them. Yes.
yes.
And
And they have a bromance.
How y'all doing?
Yes. We have like confirmed that Scotty, her assistant best friend producer, was there, but her husband wasn't there. But still, like, it's not like he wasn't gonna watch it. Like, they are comfortable and secure in their relationship.
Yes.
It
Extremely
is
secure.
okay.
It says
I
a
just
lot
can't
more about other
stand this.
people to be so worried about their relationship
Yeah,
and being
it's
like
so
your
weird.
husband, like, oh my God, blah, blah. And it's like, again, and I don't know if it's coming from me being like, two of my best and longest friends that I've known the longest in my life are both men. Boys when I met them because I was a little child. But we can talk about anything and everything in front of my husband. They now have just as close of a relationship with my husband.
Yeah,
So
because
I
that's what our
don't
husbands like to do. They like to steal our best friends, and
Yeah.
then the best friends end up
Oh my
liking them more.
literally the other week, and I came home from dinner, I walk in and my best friend Jason, also Jay, love you, he started watching. He's so cute. But he was commenting.
Can't wait to meet you.
He was commenting about
punch you in the
something. He's like, who's Chelsea's house cleaner? I'm looking for a good one. I was like, babe, she's in Florida. He's like, what the hell? How do you guys get together in the same room? Anyways, it was adorable. I was like, I love that you watch. But yeah, I come home
Jay,
and
I'm in the
Jason's
basement. Actually, come get me.
yeah.
I'm down here.
Jason, he's on my couch, and I'm just like, we're at the point now where my husband has taken all of my best friends, and they just message him first, and they're just like, hey, like, can we come over? And like, are you watching the game? Are you watching the fights? Whatever. And I'm like, hi, remember me? So I don't think that's pick me, but anyways, I guess I
But
look at it at a different
There are
lens.
a lot of people who see her as that, and
Mhm.
that's okay.
Mhm.
You can, and guys, listen. I know there's gonna be some people who are like, "Oh my gosh, here for the clout," and do we know them? Are they still friends? Like they had such different, responses and reactions to this and takes on this, and it's like, yeah, we're not in a cult. We have. Come on, it's
That's
okay for
part
us
of
to
it.
disagree on things. It's not that serious.
Yeah,
One thing we do agree on, though, is that we love each other.
there you go.
Yeah. And that's that on that. But it's very interesting of the whole, oh, well, that's embarrassing for, you and your husband. And like, are y'all okay? And it's like, we're not embarrassed by it. So why is it embarrassing for us? Like,
Mhm.
I quite literally don't understand. And like Tony and I have, for instance, the clip of me saying, someone sent it to me and I had Tony watch it because it was so funny. Now we have just random people sending me like clips from the podcast. Like they've literally made like short form content for us. And I'm like,
I love that.
guys, we pay someone to do that. What are you doing? Stop it. Like, I love you. Keep doing it, I guess, because it's so funny. But one of them where I literally said that I would pay to have, was it Joe Santagato? That I said like I would pay to have him choke me.
For sure.
Or something.
I don't know. I'm going to assume because you do talk about that.
I stand by that. And guess what? I've literally told Tony that before. And he just looked at me and he goes, okay. Because my husband says about 6 words a week. And I should be like that. Only one of us can be the star, baby. All right. So yeah, it's just annoying because it's like, okay, y'all have different comfort levels. Like, that's embarrassing for you. You're not in that marriage. That doesn't affect you. Calm down. But the whole like condescending aspect of, and like culty ass aspect of, I just really hope that you know how much Jesus loves you. Mm-hmm. What if that person doesn't believe in that?
Exactly.
Like, that would be like someone from another religion telling me like, I hope you know how much the flying spaghetti monster loves you. And like, I hope you open your heart to him. And I'm just sitting here like, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. What are you talking about? I don't need to be involved in your religion. What the fuck? Like, think about it. That's so weird.
Yeah.
And that's what's her name again? Kaylee.
I think that's the start of exactly where it goes back to what exactly Avery was saying. Like, the type of people, again, not that's blanket, not every Christian, but the ones that she's talking about, it's the condescending, I'll pray for you. And when you do that, that's the type of that turns people away from certain religions. It's the like, oh my God, like, I hope you know the love. I hope you whatever. And it's like, but guess what? If I'm feeling love, like from my God or higher power, and I'm doing okay in life, like, I think that should be none of your business. Should she have said what she did? Again, no. When you look back at it in context, though, I think that it is different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as
she wasn't bashing. So when people keep saying like bashing Jesus, that wasn't it. She's like she was bashing the people who hide behind his name, is how I took it.
Yes. And also the hypocrisy. She was pointing out the hypocrisy of it all. Of, it doesn't say in the Bible to not be a dumb bitch, because I'm pretty sure it does, for lack of better phrasing. That's a direct
quote.
Yes. Okay.
God, Chelsea, don't. We're going to get canceled. Take that out.
Oh my God. It's annoying and I don't like it, but let's subject ourselves to more Kaylee Bonnell. Of course your last name's Bonnell. And guess what? If your last name is Bonnell and you're not this girl, I don't care. That's cool, man. Go for it. I love it. I love you maybe. Who knows? But again, to quote my Lord and Savior, Helen Incredible, Mrs. Incredible, Pixar had no right to give her the thickest, biggest, baddest
booty
dump truck of a butt in the like, where is her waist? It does not exist. I cannot see it.
And the one who's literally in Disney, like, jeez, what a casting call that would have been. Can you imagine?
Girl,
can you back that ass up for us?
I would like to put in a request for that, actually. But to quote, is it Ellen or Helen? I think it's Helen. Anyways, whatever. Her, my Lord and Savior, Mrs. Incredible. It's not about you.
This is not about you!
I know that's impossible for us to understand, but let me tell you, your time on the internet will be so much more fun, so much more just breezy, easy, beautiful cover girl if you approach it like that. Oh, I'm feeling slightly triggered by what this person said. Why? It's not about you.
Why? Yes. And I think that does change things when you step back and you're just like, ooh, why did I get upset about that? Am I that person? Do I do that? Do I go into people's comments and I have that quote in there? Well, then that means you. So like, maybe let's reflect back on it. If you don't, then guess what? That's not what she's talking about.
A great example of this is during a video that I reacted to of Jessie Lee Ward, R.I.P. Jessie Lee Ward.
You would have hated this.
Yeah, I don't think you would have liked this. But I love you and I'm happy that you are thriving with Jesus himself. As she weirdly told me in a dream. I'm a witch. I don't know what's happening. But that was like so fucking comforting. It was crazy. I was like, cool, now can like my dead ex-boyfriend come back and tell me he's out of pain and good? Because like, why is she here? I don't need to have a meeting with her. I want to have a meeting with him. So anyways, repent. I can't. Back in the day, 3-ish years ago, I was reacting to a video of Jessie Lee Ward, and she had a full ass like leg sleeve. And my husband has like what, 8 tattoos. I have 11, I think. His are bigger than mine. Mine are like dainty and cute. I love them. They're great. I'm gonna get more. But Jessie Lee Ward had like the thickest, just biggest tattoos. And if she liked them, which she clearly did, she got them. Great. Love that for her. But she had a leg sleeve, and I was not a fan of it. I didn't like it. I don't like leg sleeves.
Me literally looking at how to like get my leg sleeve going.
But like, is that a
Does that
jab
mean
at
you're
anyone?
gonna hate me and never like record with me again? No.
First of all, pretty sure I've licked your leg. Probably. If not, I will in May. Don't worry. But to-do list, like Sherilyn's leg. But it's that's important to understand. It's like, oh, so you think my tattoo's ugly? No, I've never seen your tattoo.
Right.
But also, do you like dainty tattoos? No? Okay. I have a bunch of them. Am I going to take that personally? No, I'm not, because it's not about me. Now, if you direct it towards me and say, hey, your tattoos are fucking ugly. Also, at that point, I'd just be like, cool. All right. I think they're nice. I like them.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got them, and my tattoo artist is awesome. If you're in Tampa, The Nuge, Josh Agostinelli, Bed of Roses. He also has his other little private place, but he's amazing. I'll have a link down below. I'll forget, but someone will remind me. But yeah, it's that shit just pisses me off, because it's like, it's not about you. Why? Like, you're not the main character. Move on. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Let's stop it. And it seems like that's what a lot of people are doing. And they're like, they're not only getting mad at something that was never said, and that quite literally never happened. They're also taking it they're relying on something that's like out of context regarding something that never happened. But then they're also internalizing it. And it's like, ma'am, you've missed the point.
Yeah,
Like,
now you're gone somewhere else, and had that actually been what happened and what she said, I do get it. I do get the outrage in that, but that's also your due diligence to like figure that out. And we talked about this too, because when I was going through the comments, that's why we were like, is something wrong with us? Like, we were not understanding. Have you seen this whole podcast and knew where and what fit where? Are you saying that she said this about Jesus? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and not understand the context behind it. And my point was proven first in the comments by so many of the condescending, ripping her apart, and then being like, but I'll pray for you. So we've already touched on that. And then the repent. And then also in there, people saying, I don't want to listen to this crap. Can somebody please send me the timestamp of where she talked about Jesus? And it's like, that's fine. But now you don't know the context if you didn't watch it all. You're taking one sound bite and you're running with it. And you didn't listen to what was said prior and why that was reverted back and where that all came from, like with the lube, with the anal, whatever. Like, that was already a conversation.
Yeah. It's crazy, because it's like, okay, so you're listening to this podcast and you
want to hate her, so you just want to hear it for yourself, but you don't want to know the context behind it.
But not even that, and yes, and it's like, so you're upset that she even mentioned Jesus. And even said that her haters, so if you like her, you're not a hater. So again, it's not about you. But she's also not mocking Christianity. She's poking fun at the people who are complete turds and, saying unhinged, and, kind of giving the same energy back to them. But then more so than that, it's like, it's so frustrating. Like, for instance, here's a comment that literally the top comment on this podcast. It says, on this episode, it says, the mocking of Christianity is not cute or funny. When did she mock Christianity? Also, she literally has made fun of Mormons for like saying that they're still virgins, while some of them will like go ham on anal sex. And like, here it is. Here's the clip. It's hilarious.
Told my fam I'm waiting till marriage, but we've been doing everything else but sex for years.
So you're Mormon?
My high school boyfriend that was super Catholic gave me a promise ring, and we promised everyone that we were waiting till marriage because we were going to get married, and we've been since 15 years old. So
Well, I guess they didn't lie.
yeah,
They're saving themselves for marriage,
exactly. That's
but
not
they've been
sex.
doing everything else.
His
Okay.
in your mouth is not sex, you know?
I also heard like penis and the booty also.
Okay, that's what Mormons at BYU do. They have a bunch of fucking anal sex. They're like, I'm a virgin. Their assholes like so loose. I'm like, girls.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Just like you go to the bedroom and there's just like, old-fashioned donuts? Okay, follow me.
Oh God.
Think of an old-fashioned donut.
Okay.
They're all like prolapse looking.
Oh.
You see, thank you, Scott. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you look at a regular donut. I'm comparing buttholes to donuts now.
Yeah, what's going on?
You look
Where's
at
this conversation going?
No, I'm just saying, thank you.
This is a meme.
No,
Ew.
look up old-fashioned donut so Avery can see it.
Yeah, I want.
We need a TV on the wall hooked up
I
to
wanna
internet
do,
so you
like,
can
what
pull
Joe
up.
Rogan does.
Yes.
Jamie, pull it up.
Yeah.
Ew, ew, ew.
See?
Okay.
Can you imagine? She's, I saved myself for you. Then you open it up. And
Open her up like it's a package. Jesus Christ.
It's just this old-fashioned donut.
Listen,
Oh.
I just like, what's the point of doing that when you can just like, embrace? Well, I guess, okay, it's different when it's religion because they feel so much shame, which is so sad.
Yeah.
So they kind of try to get around it. And you know what? If that makes you feel better, whatever. But for this girl, it's all right, babe. Like, we've all been there.
So do you even watch her content? Why are you here? Like, this content isn't for you. So you're just going to someone else's content that they are not a part of your religion. They think it's goofy, whatever. Or like, if even just the mention of Jesus's name triggers you so hard that you are making up a scenario or like making up words in your head that didn't happen, please go see a therapist. Like, you're not okay. And as a Christian, I'm comfortable saying that. Like, you are not okay, and you are one of the problems right now. And it's unhinged. I mean, then there's people in this comment section. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, you will reap. Girl, we ain't gardening. Okay.
And that's the thing. That's the fear mongering of it all. And again, those aren't people who these are the people who are coming from the soundbite. These are the people who are not understanding what the context was or what Avery is and what she was saying.
Ooh.
And again, that's okay. Don't watch because you're not gonna. That's true. You're not gonna like her content.
Yeah, exactly. So here's another one that says, I don't think she was mocking Christianity, which she wasn't. If you want to see another video of her doing that, go here. Also, who cares? Like, other religions get made fun of. If you're that sensitive, get off the internet. Like, and listen, if y'all would feel the same way I do, I would assume, or probably way worse. If you received half of the amount of unhinged hate and threats and crazy shit that I receive from people, not necessarily like this, but the people who are all caps screaming that I need to repent. And I'm just like, babe, it sounds boring. Like, move on. Let's go.
And I do get it for people who like are Christian and do believe in God and Jesus, who don't do this. And I think that that's also the disconnect here is like, it's like they'll try to like explain it themselves away and be like, oh, like these are like false people, like these, like if people are saying that and they do that, that's not actually like a true follower. And we're like, we get it, yeah, but those are the ones who are screaming the loudest. And once again, when we pull back the layer here, that she wasn't encompassing it as a whole. She was literally talking about those people. Should she have made fun of like who you believe in your heart, is there? No, but
she
like we
but
all
she didn't.
like we all believe exactly. We all believe something else. I mean, obviously there's like certain people who believe in certain religions, but it's not like everybody on this planet believes in the same God or the same rules. Like if you were literally to like put it all out there, none of it makes sense. But if it feels right to you, then do you know what I mean though? Like, because like one contradicts the other, the other one is like completely different, and that's okay. At the end of the day.
To put that in the terms of Chelsea, you're not special. Other people are going to believe other things. And if what you believe in is not religious psychosis or spiritual psychosis, and is not hurting you or hurting anybody else, then okay, go off king and queens and in betweens. I love that for you. That's great.
Yes.
And as long as you're not like pushing that onto other people, go for it. Because hey, separation of church and state and freedom of religion. Am I right, ladies? Yeah. But I do think that in this specific instance, it possibly has hurt her, not hurt her, but like could be more.
This is if anybody was actually true about wanting to like pray so that she could find Jesus, that's gone. This proved exactly what she was referring to, because they didn't look into it and listen to her. Yeah.
But also what I was going to say is that having that part edited out, I feel like is worse at this point.
I do
because
too.
now people can't see it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's continue.
The fact that you can go on your own podcast with Harry Jowsey and talk about how you don't believe in Jesus, how you don't want to, whatever, that's fine. I'm not bashing you for not believing in Jesus. I'll pray for you. I pray that she will open her heart to him and realize how much love he has to give. But it's the fact of how you were talking about it, not to mention the last question that would be embarrassing for your husband. If this was me, if I was her husband, I don't even know how I would even react to this. She literally said to Harry Jowsey, hypothetically, if I wasn't married, hypothetically, and he said yes. And she goes, oh, yeah? Do you know what I was going to ask you? And he goes, yeah. So she said, hypothetically, if I wasn't married, would you get with me? You're married and you're asking somebody that? That is absolutely disgusting. Your kids are going to see that podcast.
You sound boring.
And you're supposed to be an example for your kids. And
oh, you know what I gotta say to Kaylee? Boring. You're boring. Kaylee, get a butt plug because, or a sex swing or something, girl, because you eat it. The thing that is crazy.
Literally, that is so upsetting because I think both you and I have been with our husbands the same amount of time as Avery has been, like 10 years. Do you longer? Do you think for 1 second you were gonna turn down like a compliment or whatever? And if you had banter and this was like one of the pre-questions or whatever, which I think we found out that like Scott made them because like there was a couple times she like looked at him, she's like, oh my God, like you didn't or whatever, and then she's like reading it. I believe that 100%. So yeah, he hit on her so much in it. If you go back and look at it, it was like, you know, the small comment, her saying something about her husband and then him being when he
goes, oh, stop, I'm gonna have to fight your husband. I was dying.
Right. Like, it's like,
and she said, oh, it's okay, you're gonna meet him tonight. And he goes, no, I can't. Sir.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
And so then that last question, it was funny because of their chemistry and because of the bantering. Again, chemistry doesn't mean like they're gonna go and like hook up. It just means like chemistry of like a coworker and getting along. When she says, she goes, hypothetically, and she's already laughing at the question that she's seeing. And then he goes, yes. And then she starts laughing. And then she's like, you don't even know. And then he's like, okay, wait, yeah, no. He's like, ask it. And then she's like, what do you think? And he's like, yes, I would or whatever. And then asks her to finish it. And it basically, is that like, would I be your type, or like, would you hook up with me or whatever? And it's like that. I thought that the end was actually adorable, like the way that he goes. And she's like, okay, like, you guys got that? Okay, see you later, bye. It was a joke.
Girl, I could literally ask Tony right now and be like, hey, look at this picture. Would you have sex with her? And he would, if it was a hot person, he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, you've been with your partner. You are so secure.
It's not literally him being like, yes, what's her number? Let me go have sex with this person right now.
Nor was it like them being like, oh, would you hook up with me? Let's go in the bathroom right now. Like, no.
Oh, that's so disrespectful to your husband. You're not in that relationship. How do you know what is disrespectful? And it might just be me speaking through trauma that I've had where people accuse me of having affairs with, not that he watches this, but with Joshua Barber of Dad Challenge podcast, or with, remember when there was that one bitch on Reddit who was like, Chelsea DM'd my boyfriend, like, and they were like, they were so flirty. And then I found out who it was. And I was like, ma'am, I thought your boyfriend was gay. Like, what the? And then I DM'd her and she blocked me. And then I texted he was amongst like the gaggle. I think I told you this. He was amongst like the gaggle of gays that like my not Anthony, my gay husband. And that's why I say my gay husband and then like my actual husband, because like they have the same name. So, you know, it gets confusing. And we always joke that he has like a gaggle of gays around him because he is the head of the Tampa gay mafia. It's a thing. It is. And so it like, I had a feeling, I was like, I know that this bitch, like the guy she's referring to has to have been one of them. Cause I am always super nice to them, no matter who it is. And no, the twink of the week, if you will, that he has around him. But it's just like so crazy that it's like, girl, I thought your fiance was gay. What are you talking about? And it, like,
Yeah,
that
you
type
didn't even know.
so
Yeah.
it's just like, one, would never. 2, why would I ruin this? 3, bold of you to think I'm attracted to your husband because I would literally only have sex with numerous vaginas and 1 penis. No, thank you. And yeah, sure, might make jokes about Joe Santagato. I would destroy that man in the bedroom. Nicole, I'm sorry. You're beautiful. I love you. You are so sweet. You look like a young Julia Roberts. However, I would scare that man. I would terrify him.
I think so too.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't meet your heroes.
sweet boy. But yeah, so it's just so crazy. It's like you don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. Clearly, that you think it would be disrespectful when it's like, have you seen what they
Do you
talk
know what
about?
they talk about on
it's
their podcast?
crazy.
Exactly. This is my point with all of this is like, this is what needs to stop. Yes, you can form your own opinion. You can have, it could be content that you don't like, that you don't want to watch. That's fine. But to like go on and have zero context, just a little 5-second clip and go from there and not know what the context was behind just that, or even what she's like in general, and to like start talking about her marriage and her as a mother and what her children are going to think about it. Guess what? Her children are not going to like go swimming in the depths of the internet to look at her interviews. First of all,
No.
what they're going to remember about their mother is how present she was, how much she provided for them to give them like the best life that she could, like, and how much she loves them and has taught them and
Yeah,
is open with them. That's what her kids are going to remember.
Most kids of people in the industry, the industry meaning not even just kids, family members. How many of y'all think that anyone in my family watches my content ever? Guess what? You're wrong.
Exactly.
Nobody, 0%. Does my husband, does Tony, I could go upstairs right now and be like, hey, Tony, what's the name of my podcast?
That just reminds me of when Brent,
I
when
fucking
we
can't.
went to Sabrina Carpenter and he's like, she's at the CC Suarez concert. That's how much our family and husbands know about what we're doing. You know what? That's how concerned they are about what we're doing. Guess what? Because that's how secure they are, that they're just like, I don't know.
They're like, you think anyone else is going to want to deal with these dumb bitches? No.
Literally.
And they're also like, no one else wants to deal with me either. Like, that's literally, Tony and I always, the thing we probably say the most to each other and that we have said the most to each other over the last 15 years is, thank you for dealing with me.
Yes. I'm so glad I have you. I'm so glad I found you.
Well,
like,
yeah,
what did I
obviously
do
that
to
too.
find you that you, no, but like that you can get me? Because like no one else could deal with this. Vice versa.
I wrote on a cake. Sorry, I've been unmedicated because I've been crazy the last like week and a half. And I was like, then I got back on my meds and I was like, oh, I see what's happening here.
Huh, that makes sense.
Interesting.
That's
But so
why I
it's-
got them in the first place.
Right? Who would have thunk? But it's just so crazy of, also reminder, take your meds, drink water. Thank you. But it's just so crazy of the like, this is so inappropriate and so like disrespectful to her husband. And it's like, okay, well then with that same sentiment though, is like any other podcast she's doing, like any other episode where she talks about, you know, finding someone attractive or like, you know, this what is it, spicy or saucy confessions or whatever, like are any of those also disrespectful to her husband? And it's that the whole like disrespecting to your husband like mantra of it all. Do not take a shot every time we say the blank of it all, please, you will die. But that whole thing is just so rooted, in my opinion. It's okay if we have differing opinions. You're going to be fine. Calm down. Is so rooted in misogyny. To me, it's like, okay, so I can't have open conversations about sex and with people who also are okay with that. And guess what, babe? No one's forcing you to watch. You don't have to do that. And
Yeah.
as we've said so many times, the only people who can cancel you is one, yourself, because you have to consent to the cancellation and that's just disappearing for a little bit, but is your own audience. And I really don't think that these, Chelsea, be nice. I can't do it. These wads, I don't think that they, listen, not all of them. That's a blanket statement. Some people's criticism is valid. But most of these people, do I think that they even, one, have ever watched our content? No. Have they watched the entire episode? Probably not. Do they actively listen when watching something? No. So I really just, I don't think this person is rooted in reality, and that's where we like to be, even though we're silly and goofy and who knows God what else. But it's just wild to me. It's like, your kids are going to be embarrassed. Probably not. Most kids of actors, of YouTubers, of anyone, most family members of YouTubers don't consume the content. Why? Because that's cringe.
Well, and the same thing with like I love that you brought up actor, because that's exactly it. Like, so if your parents are doing like a sex scene in their profession, you know, of course, like you give those triggers. You're just like, hey, so maybe you like skip this one, or like we fast forward. That no different than a podcast. It's all out there. Like this, that at the end of the day, that is her job. This is her job. And this is the type of content that she's chosen to make. And a lot of people resonate with it. And a lot of people like it. Like her having these open conversations with her husband, with her best friend, with other influencers. She's laid that out very clearly the whole entire time. If you've ever watched anything that she's made.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't like, is where all of a sudden it comes to the one clip, and one person, it could have been one person who did watch it, and a lot of people who watched it in its entirety and just didn't like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then came on here and took the one piece that they knew was going to get people on their side the most and garner the most outrage, and ran with it and embellished it and didn't give full context. And then without that full context, everybody else just kept regurgitating it,
well,
which is also what I saw in the comments.
And if it made you uncomfortable, that's fine. That is valid. That's okay.
But for everybody else, it's their responsibility to watch it and figure that out for themselves, not just regurgitate like their thoughts and their embellishment and be like, take away like the whole context of how that came about. But you did say something about misogyny, which I do want to touch on, because another thing that people are upset about is her comment about her vagina being pristine from her C-section, because she had a C-section. And I think this is a good conversation for you and I to have, because I am a mom of 3 and all of my girls were born via C-section. You are a mom
been born.
Of 1.
Yes, I am here.
You have also been born. You are a mom of 1 who was born vaginally. So how did you feel about that?
I didn't care, because guess what?
That's not how it works.
Well, yes, but as Mrs. Incredible says, it's not about you. It's not about me. I don't care. And also, it's a joke. Like, it's just something in passing you say that's silly, goofy, like literally doesn't matter. And if you are the misogyny of it all, I get it. If you think about it for more like it's silly and goofy, but saying that like, let me get readjusted. This is something we got to talk about, because I do understand where all this comes from, right? The idea of like, oh, if you've had kids, and the idea of like, oh, well, not like now you're damaged goods, but the whole like, well, now your body's different. Oh, well, now it feels different. And like, listen, not only the transition of becoming a parent and losing all autonomy and all freedom. Let me rephrase that. Becoming a mother and losing all autonomy and losing all freedom, because that guy can still do whatever he wants usually. And I'm just like, hello. He's just pulling on me and biting me. And I'm like, I'm fine. It's fine. But also my toxic trait is that I don't ask for help and I don't tell my husband when I need help and all that. So I have made my bed and I will pee in it. But I definitely do think the whole idea of this is something that is rooted in misogyny of the, oh, well, you've had a baby. Well, it's all damaged down there. And like, now, it looks different. It feels different. And like, oh, you're all tore up. And then also the sentiment of, which is along the same lines of, oh, you've had sex with a lot of people. Oh, well, it's so loose. Guess what, mother? It's quite literally not how the vagina works. Your vagina doesn't get loose. That's it.
Exactly. And I don't
think your vagina is an
in
internal organ. It doesn't get loose.
Yeah. I think in terms of pristine, like for her saying the pristine, maybe like, because there wasn't like like a stitch or whatever. And
A tear,
listen to
sure.
me. Like, please give this to us, the C-section moms, please, for the love of everything. Like, I think I said this like last time we filmed, but it's like the ab separation and the cutting and the apron that's hanging down to your knees, and you need to literally have like surgical intervention because it's so bad, and our bodies don't bounce back. Like we can't, like we have the guilt of not being able to like be a real woman and experience like the child, like there
That
is
shit's
that
crazy to me.
like
You grew it.
yeah, like
You're a real woman. Like
you know
you're
what I
fine.
mean. And so once again, I think that she got caught up in that moment of just being like, sure, I would have loved if she would have just been like, but that's not how it works, elaborated more on the joke. But maybe that's just because like you and I would, because we just talk way too much and just go on tangent time
we
forever.
also know the history of each other, and like, oh, like you have had, the to put your abs back together, to literally put your separated muscles back together.
And to be put back
I know
together because they were like at my hip bones.
They were off of your body. They fell out. And like, hell yeah, if we do have another, and after that, I'm gonna get that all fixed up. But like, sure, if she would have been like, oh, and that's why I had XYZ done or whatever. But it's like, are you supposed to give a like preface something or give a disclaimer with every single little piece of content you put out there? No, like that would be ridiculous. And I just think that's so wild and crazy. But again, it comes back to people who not knowing who she is and taking it out of context. And you could literally watch the entire episode and be like, oh, well, that's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but that's the content. That's the personality. Like, technically, yes, at that point, if that's the only thing you've watched, it kind of is still out of context because you don't know the content and the previous episodes. And that's why when we were talking about it after we filmed the last episode, I was like, you know what? I said previously in the first take of this episode, I was like, oh, well, I haven't watched the full episode, blah, blah, blah. And after we filmed it, I was like, Chelsea, that's the problem. Like, what are you doing? So I made it a point to watch this specific episode twice. Not only that, to watch her past 8 episodes. Basically, I went back to November.
I do love that you are watching, because like
I went back to November.
I'm like, yeah, like a lot of the things that she talks about and the openness and like her sexuality and like trying to like normalize that for women, because again, there's such a stigma against that too. It's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like somebody is going to take anything we say out of context. They will in your day-to-day life too. Like, don't think that you're just like all high and mighty and like saying something feeling like, like you're valid in it. You are, but you're going to encounter people in your life that don't agree.
And that's fine, because guess what? You can still like someone's content even though you don't agree with them on every single thing. You can still be friends with someone even if you don't agree with someone every single thing that they say, or work with them, or be married to them, or have them in your family, right, ladies? And guess why? Because we're not in a cult. We have like we're not. We have the free will. No one's forcing us to watch XYZ content. Like, you don't have to watch her content if her talking about that specifically with her husband or in general like makes you uncomfortable. Then don't do it. If me mentioning a sex swing makes you uncomfortable, don't watch this podcast. If me talking about cults and sometimes, yes, making fun of the crazy Christians, not every Christian, because I pray every single night to God. Let me be more specific. To somebody, to God. And it's not every single one, but of course it's not about you. Are you doing said thing that I'm making fun of? No, then okay, it's not about you. Get over it. You're gonna be fine.
Yes. And I think at the end of the day, that's exactly it. I think it was the one thing, and it got, I don't know, it took on a life of its own. It's wild. I thought, oh, what a rough way to like come into like a new. And you know what? This was another thing that I realized, that so many people didn't actually watch the episode, aside from the fact that they literally were saying, I don't want to watch the episode. Can someone tell me the timestamp of whenever this happened? But the view count doesn't align with the amount of hate that she's getting at all. There was only like 100 and like maybe 50,000 people who watched that. And the millions were like if you like go on Reddit, if you go on TikTok, if you go on the comments on that or any other video that she's done, even our video, we got dragged into this because we talked about our last episode with the Poppy. They're already like looking her name, seeing who's mentioned her. And then you said we got a comment saying, oh, so this comment about Avery Woods sure didn't age well. And it's like, where did you come from, first of all?
Girl,
it's not aligning. And this is exactly what I'm saying. You're so valid to have your opinion, but please do it with full context. And guess what? If you don't want to, that's okay. But then don't ride at Dawn saying this is what she said. And this, like she thinks that she's making fun of this. That's not what she's not making fun of Jesus. She's making fun of the people who hide behind his name who are awful to her. The joke was far.
Yeah, but it's also like someone, I'm going through the comments right now and they're so crazy. Like this person said, I'm a Christian, but I'm not one of those women hating on other people. Love that for you, girl. I can't stand those kinds of people and have always stood up for Avery. But the Jesus comment was really disrespectful. What?
Okay, so if you weren't one of those women, then how is it disrespect? And I understand, I guess, like, because she used, like, Jesus as the... I don't even want to say aggressor, because I'm like, hey, wait, where did rape never came? She never said the word rape.
No. I've loved Avery forever. I'm now unsubscribing. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean you have to make fun of it or trash it. Not all Christians are bad. Just because you've had a bad experience with some, don't lump us all together. Do better. But it's like, you've loved her forever.
Yeah.
Then how
so you've never... How have you been here then, actually, if you love her forever?
She has made so many jokes about like unhinged Mormons or unhinged Christians, like so often.
And her own trauma, and that's her experience, and she's valid to feel that. She's valid to share it, because guess what? So many people resonate with that. Like you and I have talked about, well, no, I don't think you've had like the same religious trauma that I have had of like watching like my mother and my sister literally be treated so horribly, had the most awful things done to them by my sister's father and my mom's ex-husband, and then be sitting at the front of the church donating the most amount of money and everybody just like loving him, and then like hiding behind the Bible. And then when my mom was like going through literal hell, his sisters, who are like so extreme, coming to the house like when she's wanting to leave and saying how this, like, Jesus will, like, never forgive. And, like, do you want the family to go to heaven? And, like, sitting there, like, praying over her, talking in tongues. Like, this is shit that happened in my life. Well, of course. And so, but guess what? And I still don't blanket that entirely, like, with Christians. But I'm saying, like, Avery's also gone through traumas.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate, like, her insight of what she talks about, like, on the norm on her podcast.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do. And I hope she doesn't stop. I hope this doesn't stop her. I hope people will look at the context in its entirety.
They won't.
And understand where she... Yeah. I know that the people that won't. But I hope that those like who are like unsure and like literally have followed Avery like you say you do and know the entire situation, give her a chance. And it's like, to me, I feel bad in the whole situation because like she's valid in her feelings, and we've experienced the same, not only like for me, the trauma, but like for you, the comments, and you're just like, yep, that checks. Yeah. I know exactly what's in your bio.
I don't think my glass of wine's over here. I think it's on this side. Oh my God, it is. It's running from me.
Babe, your glass. Oh, your bottle. I'm like, honey, your glass is right there.
Chelsea, you can't see.
Yeah, but I think like let's if you're watching this and you like come across like people doing videos and saying comments and stuff like that, and they use the R word and saying that Jesus is gonna R word, that never happened.
No,
that never came out of her mouth. That's what's bothering me. It's like, at least use the context for what it is, and don't try to like embellish it to make your argument more valid, because that's not what she said.
Yeah. And also there are so many, like, I think the reason why we, as I've said many times before, and also in the first take of this episode, that is absolutely staying on the SD card, as Tana Mojo says, because y'all don't need to see
I'm
that.
so sad I accidentally deleted it. I wish it would have gotten edited, but also not, because I was burpy.
No, I've never. That should never see the light of day. We are much more eloquent in this one. So I do think that the reason why we do feel so passionate about this, and it might be surprising to some of you, or maybe you're thinking we're being like Avery Woods apologists, which fine. That's your opinion. It's wrong, but it's okay. You're gonna be fine. And we're gonna be fine.
We're all gonna be
Everything
fine.
is fine.
I hope that's what
but
everyone takes from this. It's okay.
you're right. But the thing that I hope that people do understand is one, like I keep saying, the nuance of this is that the criticism that she is getting, the multiple different like points of it, are things that we have dealt with and that maybe we have a soft spot for, things we've have experience with. I can't speak at this point, but the motherhood and the misogyny with that and the, birth giving process and vaginas. But then also the, having people say that you're being too flirty with this guy. And it's like, I'm literally not, but okay. Or people accusing you of or making assumptions about your marriage and your relationship and passing judgment on that, which, hey, doesn't it say not to do that in the Bible? So it's that too, but then it's also at least for me, because I do consider myself a Christian, although the people who leave me really scathing comments like to disagree. And then they will keep saying, you can't be part
they
of
do say that.
part
Which
of
again, it's
the
like-
alphabet cult and like Jesus. Guess
Yeah,
what, buddy?
you can't be bi, you can't like love the gays, and it's just the cherry picking is confusing, I think, to me and to a lot of
Yes,
people.
it's hypocrisy. I hate it. And, I've made multiple comments and that one of my go-tos is like, first of all, Jesus thinks you're cringe. You would not be proud of what you're doing and saying to people because it's gross. And also go to therapy. Jesus wants you to go to therapy. He thinks you're cringe, but also he'd be at the Pride Parade. Where do you think fucking Mary Magdalene would be? That bitch would be front and center on the first float. Okay. So yeah, he'd be either in it or handing out water. Maybe I should say that from now on. He'd be handing out water at the Pride
What
Parade.
about wine? Jesus loved wine, didn't he?
Girl, that exactly. He turned water into wine. So he'd be doing magic tricks on the street corner because he's a magician.
There we go. It's
Exactly.
just like it's just
God,
so weird.
what
I
a
just feel
king.
like let's just all take a
along.
breather, step
Um,
back,
And also,
touch
hey,
grass,
I have a question.
have a
Does
glass of wine.
right? Does this person talking about anal with a colleague that she's gonna arguably have a work relationship with for a long time, hopefully, like someone she's networking with that you don't see, like this is probably gonna be one of the people that she sees the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And does their relationship affect you? Does Avery Woods and I love when he calls himself Mr. Woods. I cannot. It's hilarious. But like, does their relationship affect you? No, it doesn't. Get off the internet as I sit here on a podcast twice a week, 3 times a week, talking about this bullshit. But I understand the hypocrisy there. Also, though, there really isn't because I'm getting paid for this and creeps are doing it for free. But like, we have I don't even want to say the trauma with it, but we feel passionately about it because of the misogyny of it all, the vagina of it all, and postpartum of it all. And then also the of it all, and the like work relationship accusations, marriage accusations, people thinking they know what they're talking about in regards to you and your relationships with others when they don't. And then also people taking what you say out of context and literally just making shit up. And it's like, hey, you're mad about something that quite literally never happened. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry, I guess. But then also the most important thing here, the people, and I, like you said, I've dealt with it more than you, but Sherilyn also has called out cults and high control groups and stuff like that many, many times and talked about faith manipulation and fear mongering regarding certain cases that she's covered on her channel and, with the videos she makes. But then also for the past 4 years, 5 years, I've made primarily videos about, high control groups and cults. And again, same thing, but, just more of a higher saturation of that on my channel. Unfortunately, I will say, yes, I know it's not about me. I get it, but I do think that's one reason why I feel so passionately about it. So sure, we can call that, religious trauma. And then you have your own experience, your personal experience with it. But my professional experience with it, which is what Avery Woods is experiencing right now, I assume, because this is what I'm seeing from the outside, is that the people who are religious zealots, the Nessa Roses from the novel version of Wicked, that bitch was so annoying. Like, shut up. Shut up. My God. Get crushed by a house. Okay? Drove me insane. It's like, oh my God, please stop talking. Chelsea, you can just stop reading. It's fine. Like literally,
That too.
you're making her
Go
talk.
touch grass.
Yeah, right, Chelsea. You're doing it to yourself. Stop reading the book. Literally, case in point, right there. Court adjourned. Bring out the dancing lobsters. But that's something that, you know, I think I and you as well, you know, offer a unique, not even unique, but a different perspective to this. And I know a lot of people might be like, wow, I'm so surprised on your take about this. But again, do we think that those comments about, you know, women's bodies is right? No, but also she was making a joke about her own body. And if you were to ask her specifically, hey, do you think that women who have vaginal births have, you know, effed up vagina? She'd be like, no, what? It's not.
But also it's the reality of the situation that, yes, when you have a vaginal birth, there is so much more that goes down, like can go on down there. Was it like the podcast to talk about that in? No, like not with Harry
definitely should have talked about it with a
for
woman
sure.
instead.
Because yes, I wish that she would have like educated him more and been like, Kate, like that was like off the cuff, whatever, like joking.
But she
That's
listen,
actually
she
not
was
what
focused
happens.
on educating him on anal sex instead, which is fine. Go for
That
it.
too. Yeah, but it was just like, I don't know. I'm like, it just seemed like that opportunity to like have one more thing to be like, oh, and she said this. Like when people look back at it, it was like, oh, and she also said this, and she was a pick-me, and she was flirting with him. She was not like, he was the one dishing out the compliments that she was like kind of like bouncing back on. And then again, each time that something like that happened, she'd be like, calm down, I'm married. Like, don't make this something that it's not. It's like,
yeah, I don't think it's like flirting though. Like
I
flirting
think that
has
looking at her chemistry with her
intention.
husband and then looking at her and Harry, I'm like, again, that is further proof you've never seen her content with her husband.
Girl, that video, the saucy, he thought it was called Slutty Confessions. And
He did, yeah.
and when I saw that, I was just like, this is Tony.
Yeah.
Of us being on like episode 20, me asking him, Tony, what's my podcast co-host's name? And he's like, just staring at me. And I'm like, no, you're done. You're fired. Or when we went to Atlanta and then we took a picture at the Sabrina Carpenter concert with Jesse and Lily because, hey, guess what? We collabed with them. We bought tickets with them. Well, technically Jesse bought all the tickets and then we paid her. And
We paid
and like a week later, he finally saw the picture and goes, oh, hey, that girl was there too? Guess who he pointed at?
Me, for sure.
No, he pointed at Lily.
Oh, that girl.
And he meant it unironically because
yeah, he didn't know. Yeah.
No, he's horrible with names. He's better with faces. And then I said, Tony, look harder at the picture. And he goes, well, I don't know that guy. Because Joey was in the picture too. I was like, Tony, I swear to God. And he goes, oh, hey.
I'm like, if it doesn't work out with me and Big Guy, like we've already got that locked down. I'm like, we're getting married. You do what you want, who you want. I love you so much.
And hearing Jessie say that, like, that's her soulmate, I'm like, y'all,
I love that.
If y'all saw them interact, they finish each other's sentences. They are. It makes me so sad because I'm like, listen, I love my sister-in-law, but like, I wish my brother was gay so that we could be closer.
I love him so much.
Joey's the best. I love him. Yeah. So it hasn't
but hold on.
all been super negative and unhinged. And hey, if you're offended by this, okay, that's fine. But I do think that it is important to, like we said, watch the entire episode, know like her previous content, go watch that video with her husband, and know where Harry Jowsey comes from too. And having a full picture of all that is important. And
yes.
Also though, like, hey, you don't have to do that. That's fine. You can just be offended upon first look.
Go watch the LeBrant family if you're that sensitive about it. And then also they're going to try to recruit you into the MLM.
Don't do that. I will punch you in the face if you join a multi-level marketing company. I will come. You want a meet and greet? You want me to come to your house? For legal purposes, that's a joke. But no, do not do that. Sherilyn, I'm about to fight everybody. But no, so it's fine if you disagree with us. It's okay. Your feelings are valid, sure. However, I do think it's important for you to understand all of the context. And again, that's something that I think from a creator perspective, why we do have this take of it and we do understand the nuance with it, is that people will say certain things and then not understand, like people seeing like, well, Chelsea, you're registered as a Republican. Cool, buddy. You know how to use Google. That's awesome. I registered when I was 18, when I still lived with my parents. My family, almost everyone in my family is a fiscal Republican, whatever I don't know. I don't vote like them. So cool. Awesome. You got me. You can use Google. But it's like, okay, like you also don't know XYZ. Like, do you want to be wrong? Right? Like, I think that's another reason. It's like, okay, cool, assumptions. They make just an ass out of you because I have all the details. You don't.
Exactly. I'm like, do you know what you're standing on business for? And if you did, then I guess like, yeah, like then Chelsea and I are very broken and we're gonna like sift out a lot of people who don't agree and then I guess make room for the ones that do. Like, I don't know. Seeing it
I just
all
don't
and then
understand
seeing
how
her content, like I don't get it.
I just don't understand how like the super Christian Nessa Rose of it all I don't want to be like, how can they enjoy her content? But like,
it's not for them. Like she makes that very clear.
Yeah,
and I think so do we.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and not to say like,
okay, no, good point. Good guys. Maybe they only follow her TikTok content because I don't follow her. Maybe I do follow her on TikTok. I don't fucking know. I hardly go on TikTok. You have said before, you're like, yeah, I like her TikToks. I like her, her content. I've only watched her podcast and I probably will continue to because I enjoy it. But there's certain people where it's like, oh, I only follow them on this, or I only follow them on this,
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is, and they don't see like all of it. I don't know. Let us know. Like, please do try to have like a productive conversation if you're able to. If you're not able to, how are you here?
And that's it. I don't think with our audience, like, I don't know. We literally don't know. That's why we started the episode the way we did. Don't know how it's going to go. Don't know if they're going to agree or not. Some may, some not. But I do think like for the general population, they know enough about us by this point to like know our stance on a lot of things. We've talked about certain traumas. We've talked about certain comments. We've talked about our views.
How gay we are. Oh my God, Sherilyn. So many people calling you Sherilyn seems weird. Cher. I've been trying to come up with a pet name for you. It's really difficult. I was going to call you Squish because,
I like it.
because we both always say that we're squishy.
Yeah.
And you will be my squishy.
There we go, Squishy. Squish, my squish.
My
Yes, we're
nose
here
is
for
getting
that.
tingly. Stop. Stop. I can't show them that I have feelings. I have to be the hard bitch. You're the sweet. I'm the sour. What was I saying before you made me cry?
That, well, yeah, people coming and being like, well, first of all, I don't think that it's like our audience or whatever. Why are you watching her? You weren't watching her is what it pretty much tells us.
So maybe, like we were saying, maybe it's the people from like TikTok who then go over to her, like heard all of this, right? And saw all of it on TikTok and then went over to the podcast. And after that has already been deleted, then they're taking it like secondhand or whatever and are like, you did this. And it's like, no, she didn't. It could have been interpreted like that, I guess. But it's like, does she talk about butt plugs and like anal lube on TikTok? Because I don't know. I feel like that's more so the podcast. So it's different audiences. Sure. And it's just really, it's really wild to me, but it's kind of like when we've gotten comments before where people are like, oh my gosh, Chelsea's sexualizing Sherilyn. And it's like, are you okay? First of all, this bitch will request that from me on a daily basis. Okay? That is the top of her punch list.
Too. It's also that I'm a grown-ass woman. Like, if something is not, aligning or feeling, I get you.
Also, I always ask consent. At 5 a.m. in Atlanta,
yeah, do I think
if we're in a king-size bed, I ask to cuddle you. I ask if we can just get a room with one king-size bed instead of two queens because I want a bigger bed. But also, at 5 a.m. when you roll over and say, are you awake? And I'm like, yeah, bitch, I've been awake for an hour. I'm just playing a game on my phone. And you're like, okay.
And then we turn on a documentary, order room service, and go back to bed. It's just the perfect relationship.
It was
like, yeah, people
the best
don't have
mom
the
trip ever.
And that's the thing. People don't have the context of anything really. So like you can even imagine of like what their banter and their connection is like behind the scenes. Like there's just so much to this. I feel bad. Can we talk about the positive? Let's watch the one TikTok of the one girl who had like some really like nice views.
Let's do the positive and then we can have the palate refresher of the unhinged comments of people yelling at me to repent.
Okay, I've got some thoughts on the whole Avery Woods podcast situation. I don't want to cancel her. I'm not going to unfollow her. Though she did say some crazy A joke about rape, no matter what the scenario is diabolical. Crazy. As well as commenting on women's body, what type of birth they have, what anyone's looks like. All of those things were just so out of pocket, so unnecessary, and it did make me wildly uncomfortable. And I can handle some uncomfortable shit. I listened to some pretty crazy stuff, but this was wild. But here are some thoughts that I have. Having a platform is a privilege. And I don't know if I learned this from coaching girls for so long, but as a leader, an influencer, or having any sort of platform does not just give you the right to say whatever comes to your mind. I really do believe this was one of those situations where she was just not thinking as she was speaking. I think she was wildly nervous. I really think she was feeling a little bit insecure and nervous to be in front of Harry Halsey. And I really just, at the end of the day, don't think she was thinking as words were coming out of her mouth. I'm really not trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I really do think she does need to be held accountable for what she says. Anyone with a platform should be. I know she's come out and said that it was scripted, like she didn't really have a choice. She could have still asked those questions. It was the responses to what Harry was saying. It's just such a good reminder that you cannot say whatever comes to your mind. You gotta think before you let it flow. I have been guilty of this. That's why there's a tiny part of me that is feeling for her. But again, a platform is a privilege. And no matter what, there are consequences for what you say. As a woman whose the majority of her followers are young, impressionable girls and women, I hope that she can learn from it and do better.
So you were saying that there were, thank God, at least like multiple other people. And it seems like some people are being, I don't want to say like diminish it and be like, and like try to invalidate people. Welcome to all of my content. But like, yes, your feelings are valid, whatever. But as I ended with whatever, but like people who are being a little bit more logical, a little less emotional about it. So let's talk about that. You said you have a bunch of comments. Can you read them to me? Because I only have comments from unhinged people in my comment section.
This girl says, I don't know, as someone whose mom has been that woman who says I dress like a whore and then go to Bible study that same day, I don't really care about the Jesus comments. There's truly no hate like Christian love. I don't know, sue me. Another person, what everyone's saying. I love this episode. I was dying the whole time. Another, I like Avery. Why should she have to edit herself into some boring clone of every boring, politically correct, religious, annoying podcaster? I came here because I kept hearing about this podcast and her getting canceled so I could form my own opinion. It's not that bad. You are also freaking sensitive. They are just words and jokes. Get over it. Keep scrolling. If you're Christian, find a new podcast/influencer to follow. Not everyone is going to have the same beliefs. I feel like I watched a totally different video than the entire comment section. This is how Avery is all the time, saying you liked her, but after seeing this, you're questioning it. Harry wasn't even uncomfortable. Yeah, as in a child being groomed uncomfortable. He was blushing uncomfortable. Like, and literally that's his whole bit. He stated Avery is exactly what his 10 would look like. So he's blushing and adjusting his shirt is him thinking, oh my God, her husband is going to see this. Which again was the same thing, like, because he kept like hitting on her also, and then she's like talking about David and he's like, God damn it, yeah, I'm gonna have to see him later. Also, I don't know if they edited it out, but I didn't hear her mock religion. So yeah, she saw it later, but then again, she's getting the context, like, and so I think if she did see that comment, she would have known exactly what was being said. And then yeah, I just have like so many of what timestamp, where is it? And then people going, oh, it's around the 30-minute mark. And then the same person, once that got deleted, was like, it's deleted now, but it was around this mark. And then yeah, we have the repent, God will not be mocked. Fear God. Fear God. You guys, I don't know. I don't know if we're just, again, like in a different bubble, world,
planet, universe, timeline. Obviously with YouTube, it auto sorts to top comments, so most popular. So I went to newest, and unfortunately she's still receiving so much negativity. I don't even want to say negativity, but so much, I don't know. So this person who has a haircut that looks like she would call the cops on her mailman because he's black and in front of her house.
Did you see the video of that woman who was lying? And then she was on, like, she went to her neighbor's house and then he pulled in and he's a black man. And she didn't realize that he's the one who lived there and was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, what are you doing here? Like, I live here. She's like, no, you don't. She had her kid, leaves the stroller, grabs the kid, starts running, and then running down the road screaming like, help, 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 like I'm being chased. He's like, they have the Ring camera, and
he's
then
like,
she tries to go.
Moved.
Yeah, he's like, I live here. Yeah, she went to their house, and I don't even know what the context was of her going there. Not us, like, not knowing what we're talking about when we're saying know what you're talking about, but it's just because it came to me and we saw TikTok.
Oh, well.
But she goes there and she's like wanting to like tattle on this black man to the homeowner, and then he's like gets out of his car and he's the owner of the house, and then his wife like comes out later because she goes back with her husband to like try to like retract and like apologize, and the wife calls her out because like they see it on the Ring camera of her like screaming for help and everything like that when he was literally like, can I help you? And she's like, what are you doing here? And then he's like, I live here. And it was like the neighborhood, she like didn't think he fit in the neighborhood. And she's like, well, you can just understand like why I was like scared, and then just the way you approach me. He's like, I asked why you were here because this is my house.
How you approached me? You walked over. He got out of his car.
On my property, on my porch, ringing my doorbell with your child in the stroller. Left. Oh yeah, I think that's why they had to come back to get the stroller. And then the wife was like, had already seen everything and was like, so what was your concern? Like, what were you worried about? Like wanting her to say it was because of the color of his skin. Yeah,
You can,
it was.
but
It
the
was
thing is, like, you can
awful.
try to walk people to that point, and they'll like
Oh,
dance
she kept
around
going,
it.
you gotta understand, like I was like alone with my child, like, and she's like, but you're on our porch. We'll put the clip in here. It's
God, I love it.
wild.
Do you live here? Yeah. You do? I don't believe that. What? I don't believe that. So where are you going? Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Did someone come here? That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here. She had the kids. Who chased her? She said somebody in a silver truck.
Gray truck. And he came around the corner, and I was in the street. And so I come up and I just have my kids, and so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home. And so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope." And then he sat here, and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's.
She got all worried that she.
Scared the crap out of me.
How?
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you though?
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, are you looking for somebody? Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, sorry.
What? She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house.
Followed 20 minutes home, and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters hovering over our home. So, did I overreact? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get them for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man. So, I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted. Not me ever asking for any of it to be deleted. I made a public apology to them through the video.
I love it so much. Not I love racism, but I love idiots and racist pieces of
Getting called out for
homophobic
being
pieces.
racist. Yes.
Yeah, being called out like that. There's
Yes.
We've had if I get his permission to share details with you specifically offline, I will. Also, when you come here, you'll have to meet him because he's amazing. So, Bean's godfather, Siraj, that was my heart and soul. We've had a situation like that before where, dear God, it baffled us because it was just like, what year are we in? Like, what the is happening? It was crazy. He's a big old black guy, if you couldn't tell by what we were just talking about, but he's just the best, and I just love him so much. And like, and I've said this on my own channel a lot too. It's just like, Tony and I have had so many conversations where it's just like, racism makes no sense. It makes, and obviously homophobia too, but it's like, just makes no sense. Like, you're gonna hate someone over something they can't change. And obviously that goes for being homophobic too, because it's like, can't change. You are just like CoverGirl. You're born that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe you're born with the gayness.
For sure.
Or the
But,
melanin.
yeah.
It's, girl, it's so whack. Whack? What's happening?
Not you saying whack.
Oh, sorry. Wicked? I feel like that's something your husband says. Did y'all know that even though Big Guy is Canadian, Tony and I still are just like, no, he's cosplaying. Like, he's fooling all of us. This man is from, like, New Jersey or Pennsylvania. Like, he's not, or Boston, 100% Boston. He's not from the Texas of Canada. Your husband.
Oh.
Every time I hear him
Because of his-
talk. Also, FaceTiming with me while wearing gray sweatpants. I was like, Sherilyn, that jail. That's illegal. Can he hold the camera up? I'm not trying to just look at the dick
He's not
print.
allowed to go in public with that.
I tell Tony all the time, I'm like, you wear those pants to work? And he's like, I'm wearing underwear. What do you want me to do? And I'm like, no wonder all the women in your office love you.
I know. He bought a new like gray sweatsuit the other day, and then he's like, well, I know you're not gonna let me wear it in public. I'm like, do what you want, but like, yeah, like the thirsties are gonna be thirsting, and guess what? He loves it, and guess what? I'm cool with it because he's coming home to me. Like, it is what it is. I'm like, maybe not in front of my mom.
Sometimes, well,
like,
sometimes
it's just
they're
right
like
there,
unaware.
and you're trying to be cozy. Oh no, he's so unaware, and that's the thing. He's so unaware. And I'm like, babe, I get that you didn't look at yourself like fully in the mirror to like see like that it's just like really on display right now, but it is.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to have like Christmas dinner.
But like, also, can you pass
And no
the
one
mashed
knows
potatoes?
which ham to cut. Like, I just don't really know.
Girl, I cannot. There have been multiple times where my sister will look at me and be like, your husband's penis is looking at me. And I'm like, girl, I've been in a staring contest with it for the last 30 minutes. So it wins, not me. It's crazy. Anyway, so this lady, as we, how we got to racism, this lady who looks like she would call the cops on her brown mailman said, if you mock Jesus and Christianity, you, in all caps, will be mocked. You are canceled. You are a horrible person. Hey, Gertrude, what if that person, and I literally commented this, I said, that doesn't apply to said person if they don't believe in your God. Y'all are weird. Like, you are canceled. Most likely not by her own audience. Like, guess what, baby? This is just the thinning. Who cares? Get these weirdos out. Like,
yeah, that you are like, said who? Did you get a message? Stop.
Baby, that's psychosis. Go to the hospital. Call Lisa, who's been stalked by the feds. Call her. And then you both need to go to the hospital and tell them that you are being stalked by the feds and that Jesus is speaking to you. And they're going to give you a hefty dosage of Seroquel and you're going to go night-night.
I think we all just need to go night-night.
Not me hoping that my kid wakes up in like 2 hours so I can get snuggles. Oh my God, I took him out of the bath and he was, such a little snuggle boy. I love those sweet little snuggles. Makes me want to have another one. But then just like Jesse said.
Remember when he FaceTimed me? It was the best ever.
I was getting the whey conditioner that I use on his hair. I hear her voice in the bathroom and I'm like, God, is that you? It's me, Chelsea. And I look at my phone and
one of my favorite books, by the way, if nobody got that reference.
Yeah.
That is one of the best books ever by Chelsea Handler. Like, God, is it you? It's me, Chelsea. Like, oh my God, with her martini glass. Like, oh my God.
That was the one that talked a lot about her mom and her mom's cancer, right? Or was that Bang Bang, Chelsea Bang Bang?
Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah. I've read all of her books.
That one was a lot of her doing a lot of ecstasy.
And I love that she's so open about dating our Lord and Savior Curtis Jackson. That's so funny to me still. Like, still to this day.
Yes, me. I actually wish that I would love to like see them like on a podcast and like talk together.
Because like she's a troll, but he's a troll.
Like, he's the trolls of the trolls.
He posts is so funny.
Crazy.
Tony asked me, Tony and I were talking, when he hadn't hit his 4-sentence limit for the week. And he had said, we were talking about like independent, it sounds like such a deep conversation for us to have, but it was super casual, I promise. We don't get that deep. But we were talking about like independent like news outlets, and I was saying like you should care about. I was like, I love that one, and then like no bullshit news or something like that. I was like, I love those ones. There are like a few others. Then I said, I was like, and then when the drones were out, I was like, Bethany Frankel and House and Habit, and I was like, listen, if you're trying to get real conspiracy, go to those two. And then I was like, oh, and also Curtis Jackson. And he goes, do you mean 50 Cent? And I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, what? I was like, oh, you're not on 50, like, babe.
You're not on 50 Cent side of the internet.
It is my favorite. He's such a troll. And he's just calling out. And he's just like, I'm going to make a documentary about this. And it's like, sir, calm down. Also make it, please.
You're not me. Wanting to make a documentary of everyone we talk about. Avery. Don't know if you know this about us, but we...
Apparently, Stay Spicy Productions LLC is now a like full production studio, and we're just gonna
literally.
It's not just me in my office, I promise, with Sherilyn on FaceTime, but yeah, in Wiggum somewhere. Wiggum, that smells like Wiggum fart. Super professional production company, but
yeah, obviously.
Oh, speaking of Siraj, we have a shared album of Bean with both of his godparents and all of our parents and stuff, and he is always liking the pictures. Oh my god.
Oh my god, he's literally like the cutest.
Like, is that an angel? He is. Like, I didn't put that one on social media. Listen, I won't, but the podcast will get it. You know, I'm really doing a disservice to like the world in general if I don't at least have one more, you know?
Yeah, babe. And you know what? Listen, been saying this every episode. You're going to know when you're going to know. For me, I knew when I knew it was never a question anymore, and I wasn't waffling.
Yeah,
because I had waffled.
Sure,
I had gone
you've
back
also
and forth.
had 3 C-sections. You can't have another.
No, I know I can't now. But then... But we have talked about, like, yeah, the moment where we went for, like, the 6-week checkup. And I was like, so, like, what does that look like? And she's like, it looks like we're going to have a really heavy conversation about the fact that your body can't do that. So, like, we are going to look at alternative options for you. She's like, perhaps surrogacy if you want to, or adoption. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. So,
which that's fine if you want to do that.
Affirmative for me.
I personally didn't want to do that, but
yeah. Of course.
Because I wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant, but
no,
or rather
and that's it too.
Carry a pregnancy. Yet here he
But
is.
I think that, you know, even I was still in like the high and the emotions of just like having a baby, and of course like the sleepless nights, but also just like loving that moment. And then by like the 8-month mark, I was definitely like, yeah, we're done. We're so done. So done. And knowing also that, like, my sisters and my brother are, like, now at that point of, like, having little ones. And I'm loving my auntie era.
Yeah.
I wish that I could share her. But, again, going back to, like, the trauma of, like, really evil people, like, she will not post her child online. And so anything that I, like, share is, like, heavily edited with a little emoji on her face. You've seen her, obviously, like, because that's between... like us. So I'm in my auntie era and it feels like me, and so I'm okay with it. But for you, I'm like, no, I don't think you are, because you go back and forth too much.
I know.
I think there's another one.
Anyways, girl, I did literally everything you're not supposed to do the weekend before I peed on a test. So I was pregnant. Girl, I was having sex in a hot tub. I was hiking up a hill. Multiple hills. I ate sushi and like raw everything and deli meats. I did so many things, and and drank a lot, and I also had a few edibles. And listen, it was a work trip. That doesn't make it better, Chelsea. And like walked so fucking much. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's why my boobs are so heavy. That's why I was so tired. That's why I was peeing all the time. That's why like blah blah blah. And it's so crazy. Also, this is not fear mongering. Like I personally think that like that early on, like that doesn't affect it. And right when you take that pee test, then it's positive, then you're fine. Then like
yeah, that's what my doctors have always said.
Yeah.
Because that was my biggest thing. Like I love having, you know, my drinks. And I'd go and be like, oh yeah, okay, but I drank. Like I've been drinking for the past like few weeks. The doctor's like, you're fine. Don't keep going, but like you're fine.
Listen, my mom didn't know she was pregnant with me until 5 months.
Oh.
And look at me. I only have the fun type of autism. It's fine. Also, we have
Okay.
literally made that joke to my family multiple times. Yeah, she was like
I
running
know, I
marathons
love
and
that. The dark.
remember I told you
Again, this
was
is
running
why it's like
marathons.
the dark comedy and humor of it all. Like, we get it. That's why I think we're broken.
Broken or not boring.
Fun.
I can't relate to people who don't have the like trauma of like childhood. Like Tony's got trauma from his childhood, like familial trauma. Shit. Like his dad was always overseas, you know, fighting for our country or some I don't know, doing like recon and having like face paint on like airboats and stopping like the cocaine cowboys. Such a badass. I love him so much. I miss him. Wonder what he's doing right now. Probably binge watching some random show. He's the best. My second favorite Cuban.
Love him.
His sister's my first favorite. I love my tia Maida. But yeah, so it's, I don't know. Those are our people. Damaged. And by damaged, you mean fun. By damaged goods, you mean discounted. So are you ready for the most, as a palate refresher, the most unhinged comments that I have received from super Christians, from zealots?
I am.
I don't know
and
if y'all
I'm
are.
sad that I'm probably not going to be surprised.
You're a blasphemer. You have blasphemed against God. You should repent. Blasphemers will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And my response was, you first, with the little nail emoji. And then, I'm sorry. You are truly a Jezebel. You need to repent. Also, Tyson James is my favorite rapper, and God is with him and his family. It's a shitty Christian rapper who like has made the most hateful.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And his wife is in or was in Money, but then he like forced her to get off the internet for a while. It was weird. And my response was, Jezebel? Girl, thank you. You made my day. Oh God, this one's crazy. Maybe if you want to know the truth about Jehovah's Witnesses, you should ask one of the elders, not someone that is biased. What? You have to be pretty evil or unrepentant to get disfellowshipped. Most people who are disfellowshipped are not the best to ask, as they are looking for someone to blame besides themselves. Because it's never the cult's fault. It's always the individual's fault. Duh. You don't just get disfellowshipped. You have to be like, God, callback. Be like that Dre McRae kind of person. They're all about giving many.
Dre McRae.
R.I.P. You would have loved this. Just kidding. You wouldn't have. Oh, God, that's so sad. Her husband, Vaughn.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. That is a rabbit hole. Like,
if you want to go down the rabbit hole, I will have a link down below because holy shit. That's one of my favorite deep dives I've ever done. And I researched, filmed, and edited it all by myself.
It's deeper even now.
Yes, I will have a playlist linked down below.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but like also imagine, it's about to get morbid, sorry. All of it is. Imagine attempting to escape your life, end your life, to escape this situation that you're in, and allegedly to escape the person you're being abused by, and being unsuccessful. Well, actually, technically, he was successful in it, but they were able to hook him up to life support.
Long enough for her to make a lot of content off of him, like even longer.
She spit on his head and said that it was like God anointing or like Jesus's fluids or something. But then also she has since just like kept him alive. Well, alive is a...
Well, now he's gone, but yeah.
Wait, did he actually die?
Yeah, babe. Oh my God, this was this whole thing. And then she wasn't wanting to like say it. And...
Wait, no, I thought...
No, there's a death certificate.
How do you have that?
He was brought to the house, and then because she was like, I'm going to care for him, and then died while there.
Because she obviously could not keep someone on life support. What the...
Well, exactly. And also because how...
Well, he was in a facility that was like $11,000 a month.
Yeah, and how much medication, or holistic medication, had she been giving to him prior to? What was the plant that they... Not ayahuasca,
kava. What's it called?
Like, something like that. Yes. You're
Kava's
onto
fake
it,
sugar.
babe.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
They call it like K-flower.
Anyways, getting high on that all the time, and then like him wanting to get out of it, and then oh my God. No, yeah, he's gone. He's passed, and then she didn't want to like tell any of his family, and I don't think that they were able to obviously like have like a proper goodbye, because she wouldn't like even let them go to the hospital to see them or to see him.
Wait, no, this doesn't make sense. He tried to take his life on March 2023, which technically he was successful in doing so. And then it says he tragically died on May 7th. It was longer than that.
Yeah, it was.
Because I made my video in like July. He was still in the hospital at that point when I made my video.
Well, maybe it was a year later.
Yeah, but this says that it was from March to May. This is wrong. People are stupid.
Yeah, that's got to be wrong. Again, misinformation.
It's so sad, not only for, like, yes, for her, obviously, yes, she did love him in whatever way. But it's like, it's so sad for the kids, though, too. But then...
I love that so many people probably are not on this side of the internet being like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? We're talking about Dre McRae and her husband, Vaughn. And like Chelsea said, she's going to have the playlist linked. You guys have to watch this from the beginning. Man. Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
My
and like
goodness.
So much stuff got leaked and so many people were like, Chelsea, you have to cover this. You have to cover this. And after the whole thing happened with 7M, the dancer cult stuff.
Yeah.
And people had asked me to cover that. And I was like, oh no, like, I don't want to. And I then started like the mantra of like, do it anyway. Like you don't have to make a video about it. Just look into it when people suggest shit to you. Cause I was like, God damn it. I really should have talked about the 7M stuff.
Well, maybe yeah, and maybe no, because it's sounding like it's really not going to go in Katie Joy's favor right now.
Baby, I'm not Katie Joy. Anyway, so to this cringy and person who's literally in a cult, her name's Tammy. Because of course it is. I responded to her and said, LOL, why would I ask one of the leaders of a cult about the truth about said cult? Another person said, this person's handle is Juggalo for Jesus. So you're a male sex worker for Jesus?
Okay.
And they said, you do need to repent before it's too late. And my response was, before Jesus comes back in his spaceship? Because that's what they all think. Like, too late for what? And they're like, because he's going to come back. Where? In his spaceship? What's happening?
Yeah.
Don't forget to make...
We did this, like, we've done this so many times, like, and it just makes me think of, like, yeah, like Heaven's Gate, like, how many people, it breaks my heart how susceptible people are to, like, just taking people's, like, word for it. And
every time I hear someone mention Heaven's Gate, I'm like, God damn, I want a pot pie.
Why?
I was about to say not me knowing more, which I would, obviously. No offense. That was one of the last meals
I covered it.
Well, that was one of the last meals they ate. Was they all went to like a Baskin Robbins, not a Baskin Robbins, that the Boston Market or a IHOP or Denny's or someplace like that.
Yeah.
And maybe it was Applebee's actually. Anyway, something like that. And they
I feel like I remember something about that.
Yeah, they all ordered the same thing. And the person who like took their order was interviewed and they were like, yeah, it was really weird. They all came in and ordered like chicken pot pies, which also turkey pot pie is better, baby. Not me saying that my pot pie is amazing. And 2 weeks ago, I texted you and I was like, Sherilyn, the pot pie I made Tony was not good.
No,
it did not cook all the way.
It didn't cook.
It did, but it was so... I don't know what went wrong. I do, actually, specifically. I didn't put enough flour, but it's fine. He literally ate that for every single meal for the next, 3 days. He loved it. I was like, okay, great. I think it's because I had to, reheat it.
I'm craving it. I have all of the ingredients upstairs. I think I'm going to
do something like that. Ugh. I have the chicken. That's good enough. Okay, just a few more. I promise.
No, I'm loving hearing them because I feel like this is exactly what Avery was trying to say, but didn't have her receipts. And she, at this point, I guess could like blow it up.
It's the different demographics. Girl, it's the different demographics, I'm telling you, of her TikTok following and then like the people who listen to the podcast. Because it's short form versus long form. And that's what we say. It's the blank of it all. It's the TikTok of it all, you know? Mm-hmm. I know. So this person said, repent now, for the kingdom of God is at hand. You can't serve the world and God. And I said, sounds boring. And this one was great. This was about like a false prophet type of dork who was like, I predict that Donald Trump is going to get shot or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, cool, buddy. Like statistically, we could be sure that was probably going to happen. Like you're not special. He's so cringe and crazy. This dork said, if he was a scam, why did he fulfill every prophecy the Lord has given him? Baby, that's psychosis. Why are your heart so hardened? Repent for this, because the judgment is at the Lord's hands. First of all, you illiterate goblin. If you're going to insult me, Have your grammar be on point. And my response was, who's hard? Oh God, you're gonna fucking love this one. So Donna,
Oh, Donna, come on.
it's always a Donna, isn't it?
Give it
Said,
to me.
shame on you, shame on you. Your channel will never survive. Girl, I'm doing this till I die. Because you are attacking an anointed man of Jesus Christ. Our Lord and Savior, Wiggum is my Lord and Savior, get it right? With a lot of opinions. And it says, I'm a woman with a lot of opinions. And that's what is, bitch, first of all, I cannot read this because you're dumb. I'm a woman with a lot of opinions, and that's what it is. Your opinion. Are you Christian? Do you know the Lord? Do you walk with the Lord every day? No one cares about your opinion. Arguably, almost like 170,000 people care. But my response, are you ready? Was,
yeah,
I twerk with Jesus every day, Donna. How dare you? Another person said, enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. We'll see what it costs you. And my response was, 15 minutes of fame? This is a career, baby. It's paying me, not costing me.
I literally can't.
Girl, it gets way better.
I can't.
I would be careful about how I talk about people, especially about a child of God. The Bible says, touch not my anointed. Do my prophet no harm. It would be best. If you drowned in a depth of sea, are you not the author or finisher of anyone's faith? Be very careful before worst things come upon you in Jesus' name. And my response was, ma'am, that's gibberish.
And Jesus and God did not write the Bible, baby girl.
Yeah, they don't know that, girl. Oh my God. No, babe, critical thinking is not in their wheelhouse. They don't even have a wheelhouse. That's a square. Chastity Gathers, get it together with that username, says, Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he's still alive today. Liquid diet won't hurt you. You are clearly jealous. Jealousy, you're jealous. And I said, please seek help. You are experiencing a psychotic delusion.
That's giving me the episode that I just did right now with like Belle Gibson, like being like the fasting, the colonic of it all, like doing coffee enemas 8 times a day. But if like Jessie Lee Ward had seeked out like modern medicine treatment, I feel there would have been
a higher chance that she would have beaten it. However, it was a very low chance. She would have lived for instead of 8 months after diagnosis, it would have been like 2 years. Is what the
and who knows at that point too? You've got clinical trials. You've got all of the, you know what I mean? Like it's just like there's options. I literally just did this episode, and so much of it does like fall back again. Like this is a blanket statement. It's not like mocking like your religion specifically, but like yes, like the diehards and what do you want to call it? The
zealots.
Extremists of it all, like the extremism of the side, because I think that we all have like different sides. So like yes, like when it's like so extreme and you cannot open yourself to any other possibility, you are setting yourself up for
delusion,
for
craziness, or you could be like Michelle the bartender when she pops up and she's like, black magic. Ma'am, that's not what it is. Are you okay? If you have not watched
the Super Bowl, because we are going to be, what'd you say?
You're going to have demons in your toilet? I don't know. What'd you say?
Demons are going to come through at the Super Bowl.
Demons are going to come through your pipes. Listen, it's not going to be snakes coming through your toilet pipes or those little dinosaurs. What are the little ones? I used to be scared that those were going to come through my toilet pipes. The little ones from in Jurassic Park, they're called copies, but they're like the little tiny baby ones.
I think it's because of Look Who's Talking when the toilet, and I was always like tripped out from that,
fuzzy.
Like from such a young age, and I was just like, what the hell? And then that just like took on a life of its own, where we don't even have like reptiles like you guys do in Canada, like literally nothing like that, and I still felt like a crocodile was gonna come up my toilet and like bite my ass. So I don't know what that's about.
Just so you know, crocodiles are notoriously less friendly than alligators. Crocodiles have the skinnier snouts.
I think we did talk about this, yeah.
And then gators have the more rounded snouts. And gators are more, I mean, anything with a mouth can bite you. Rawr. But, ooh, okay, girl, calm down. Yeah, gators are more non-confrontational. I love gators. They are, they're dinosaurs. Anyway, so you know who I don't love? Ron Griffin. And Ron said, with a name like Ron, ugh, gross. Oh my God. It's tangent time. Shut up.
Was it the Craig comment?
No.
Oh, because someone's like, my husband's name is Craig. This is a perfect example of this isn't about you, because she was so funny. Like, she was dying at it.
I said, and did you ask his mom why? Or like something like that. And she was like, he's named after his dead uncle. I'm like, then that's acceptable.
And then she said, and he goes by CJ. And I died.
Yeah. And why do you think he goes by CJ? Because he doesn't want to be called Craig.
Perfect example.
Thank you.
It's not about you or your husband or your family or anything.
God, you're such a queen. But this guy named Ron, him. So in all caps, as you can see, if you look at this timeline here, I've been watching Wicked way too much.
So good. If they don't win and sweep the Oscars.
No, it's going to be next year. I think it's going to be next year.
I agree. I do.
It makes more sense. However, if Amelia Perez wins anything, I'm going to burn it down. I don't know what I'm going to burn down, but I'm going to burn something down.
Listen, I didn't mind it. I watched it because, again, like, I got to watch and figure out what, like, the whole hubbubaloo of it all is. Yeah, I got it. Like, a lot of, like, the moments were, like, good. But, like, when you go next to Wicked.
Or Substance.
Why
like,
did
what?
you even do that?
Why? So I understand why Wicked is in any category because it's amazing. I understand why Substance, even for being a arguably indie movie, and it's not indie, clearly. It has all these famous people in it. It has Dennis Quaid eating a shrimp in it. It's not an indie movie. But
yeah, Dennis Quaid eating ever again, no.
And I love him. But also, I never need to see your face anywhere. But he also did amazing with that character and the, like, callbacks or the certain scenes paying homage to the horror genre. There were, like, certain scenes that were, like, callbacks kind of to, like, infamous scenes in, like, horror icon movies. It's just, oh my God, it was amazing. I loved it so much. I got so boned up for it.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, amazing. However, why is Amelia Perez in that category? Because, like, what are you doing? It does not make any sense. The Brutalist, though, is apparently really good. I haven't watched it yet, and I want to.
Yeah, I gotta watch it too because, like, I heard that's also gonna sweep.
Like an
and then I
in-theater
love Kieran
intermission.
Culkin. I love Kieran Culkin.
The whole family's so talented.
Oh, I know.
How do you
so
do
good.
that? Can't relate.
I know.
No offense to my siblings, but arguably I am the most talented. Anyways, my sister's gonna fight me if she watches this. She won't. Anyways, none of them will ever watch me. I'm not offended. I don't want them to. That's cringe. Just like Jesus thinks you're cringe. So this Ron Griffin said, "Who are you?" Again, who are you? A man, he's literally talking to himself. A man with an experience is never the mercy of a man with an argument. What in the fortune cookie,
What?
Ron? Where have you been? Oh, girl, he's not done asking me questions. Where have you been? Please give the testimony of your relationship with Jesus. And I said, please go pick up your medications, Ron. It's been too long. By the way, most of these I did at 3 a.m. last night.
I can't.
Yeah, this one's really good too.
Literally.
And you can tell that I did all these last night because most of them say like 0 seconds ago. And the original comment is from like 4 months ago. Listen, there's no expiration date to me being a fucking bitch, okay?
No.
Because that's timeless. So Kelly, without an E, well, with only one E, said, anyone making negative comments about Brandon, meaning the false prophet Dorcas that looks like literally
God, that Dorcas
a
McGorcas,
penis.
yeah.
Brandon, why do you look like a circumcised penis? What are you doing?
But he does.
It's giving Boss Baby. It's giving Eric Worre. It's giving cottage cheese. Not in a good way. It's giving egg. That's a hot commodity these days. I guess it's working for you. Anyway, so Kelly said, anyone making negative comments about Brandon probably does not have a close relationship with Jesus.
Oh, gosh.
And do not have the Holy Spirit helping them with discernment and understanding of prophecy. And I said, I have Zoloft helping me. Does that count? Girl,
Babe, these are fire.
I know, I'm extra unhinged. I have a question. Is it a requirement for these zealots to be borderline illiterate? I've always said, like, if you're going to leave me a fire hate comment and maybe like it's like mistranslated, because that can happen a lot of times. Listen, girl, my childcare, she's from Nicaragua. Do we miscommunicate sometimes? Absolutely, we do. Okay, but it's fine. Have I learned almost all of my Spanish that I've retained from her? Don't tell my Babbel sponsorship, but yes. She's amazing. I love her so much. Oh, she texted me today and she's like, I'll be there tomorrow. And I was like, okay, thanks. She called out sick 2 days this week. And I'm just like, I'm dying. Anyways, yeah, I'm hoping that Tony's mom is going to watch Bean on Thursday. So I have like all day to work. Then Cozy Homescape. Did you guys know that literally one of the channels that you click on to have like good vibes in your living room? Yes, the channels that show live streams of fireplaces and AI stormy nights, they don't like me. So Cozy Homescapes would like me to know Brandon is who he claims to be and genuinely loves Christ. How do I know? I can feel it, the Holy Spirit, when I watch his videos. Brandon and Bishop Marmari are the only two YouTube I can feel the Holy Spirit when they speak.
Oh my gosh.
And my response was, maybe you're just horny. These were so unhinged. And then MT Newman, her profile picture is her standing in a hallway with a real Jehovah's Witness looking dress. Looks like she's about to tell me the good word or ask me about my car's extended warranty or about solar panels. Ugh, I had to tell a guy at Lowe's today to please shut the fuck up. I'm not interested. Why are you following me? I'm with my child. Sir,
yeah.
I am packing. Leave me the fuck alone. I said no 4 times. Then he had the audacity to say, oh, do you need to ask your husband?
Oh, I hate that. I hate that in sales. Even like when they try to like as a female or whatever, oh, they're probably going to say something about your husband and then just like ask them to come next time. Well, like, fuck you.
And there's a way to do it to where it could be like, I used to do this shit all the time. And I'd be like, hey girl, I don't want you to have to, don't take this the wrong way, but to answer your husband's dumb questions later. So what we can do is you and I can kind of tag team it. No disrespect to him. However, I feel like we're on the same page. So what we can do is if he's available right now or later today, whatever, we can set up a meeting. We'll go ahead and we'll 3-way him. No pun intended, I promise. However, we'll go ahead and do that. And I'll answer all of his questions and explain it all to him because let's be honest, I know you were listening. I know you were taking notes. I trust it. But when he's asking you questions, if you don't have the answer, it's going to be, dead stop or, oh, well, now I have to unload the dishwasher. And then this is happening. Hey, my kid's screaming. What smells like poop? I don't know. Is that chocolate or poop? Who knows? We get distracted. It's fine. But that way we can all just get this over with and we can just get you protected. It's fine. We're good. So 3:00 today. Perfect. I'll call you then. And that's how you make 6 figures in inside sales.
Literally to ever hear that, he would have an erection.
Who?
My husband.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because you have to get all the decision makers in the household on the call.
He would have an erection right then and there.
He probably
does. I should
clapping.
leave him down here.
Brent would be like,
I should get him warmed
objections.
up. I should get him warmed up for when we're done. Do you want to hear Chelsea's sales pitch?
Do you want Chelsea to close in 20 minutes?
Literally.
No, you don't, because I will sell you the bedazzled globe that's in the corner of my office. I've been out of that for years for a fucking reason. I have no business in sales, which I do. Obviously, I'm very successful at it.
Babe, you do. But
my mental health, let me rephrase that. My mental health has no business in sales.
Yes.
Anyways, MT Newman, let's get back to this bitch who's about to tell me about my car's extended warranty. She said, Chelsea, you need to stop criticizing people who believe in Jesus Christ. There are people that do spiritual gifts, with a little present emoji. And my response was, no.
This is the thing of it all. I don't even know what video that she's referring to. I don't need to because I've seen all of your videos. I get
Thanks for
ready
that.
with you like every single day and then I
Mhm.
record with you.
Mhm.
But I know you've never done that. So that's again like the Avery Woods of it all, I guess right now. Like what's happening with her is you're taking something and saying that you criticize it. No, you're taking the
Manipulation.
situation of it and the people, the extremists or whatever of it, and make an example and saying this is what you need to look out for. And that's true. You do. We all do.
Well, it's kind of like how
It's not lumping everybody in with their
yes.
beliefs.
Well, it's the same as when I criticize people who are in multi-level marketing companies or the like high ticket sales or the selling courses to sell courses to teach you about butthole courses. I don't know about all that bullshit. And people will be like, oh, you're tearing down women. And it's like, no, I don't care what genitals you have or if you're smooth down there, baby, like a Ken doll. It does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're scamming, you're scamming. And I'm going to call it out. And then other people being like, oh, well, you're, mocking Jesus or no, I'm not. Did I ever make fun of Jesus? No, I'm on his side, girl. I'm not on yours because he's shaking his head at you right now. I would assume because I don't know, because I don't talk to him because I'm not experiencing spiritual psychosis. I talk to him and it's one way and I'm just like, hey buddy, thanks for everything. Love you so much. This, that, and the third.
Amen.
Let's have a great day and break.
Literally.
And then I go to bed.
Yes.
It's usually longer and more specific than that. However, it's just frustrating when they're like, you're just doing this because of this. It's like, so you decided to focus on the person's gender or how they identify or whatever, or again, how they identify spiritually, and use that as a crutch and act like that is what I'm attacking instead of the manipulation, the fear mongering, the lies, the scamming. It's like, that's embarrassing. For you, not for me.
100%. And I think that that's like the sentiment and everything that we have been trying to get at and see maybe. Like maybe it's because we have such a different lens in this and see it way more often. So we can understand exactly what like Avery was talking about. And you saw a lot of the sides of it. You did see the people who also understood like us. And then you saw the people who proved exactly what she has been saying, or not has been saying, just said in that one. And again, like it was, oh my God, I don't want to keep going back and forth with this. It literally just feels like I'm going to drive myself crazy because I'm like, at least please watch it all.
Yeah, and I love how we're saying this at the end and the people. So that's why I'm happy we made the like disclaimer kind of at the beginning of like, listen, if you haven't watched all of it, not just the 40-minute clip, 40-minute, Jesus, the 40-second clip, but then also like the entire episode, but then also further than that, like, I'm not trying to say like you have to be a stan of her, but no, you can. That's why I literally did it where I was like, I don't know who the fuck this girl is. The first time I watched her podcast was today. And I watched all the way back. I skipped a few of them because a few of the other interviews, I was like, I don't care about this. I got like 15 minutes into it and I was like, don't care. Avery,
Literally, that's why I love when it's just her or like David or Scotty. Like,
yeah. So I watched a few that were solo too because I wanted to get a good gist of her by herself and then her, like, what is the vibe? And a lot of people that, and like at the Aspen Ovard one too, I watched that one too. And some of the comments were like, I wish you would have like just asked her more questions and not like when she answered, then like related it back to like your experience. And it's like,
that's a conversation though. What are you talking about?
What? I think people are used to other people, like interviewees or people they like or whoever, going on to podcasts, and the person who hosts the podcast that they're on or the interview, whatever, doesn't do the same job as them. If people have guests on their podcast and they do the exact same thing, it's going to just be a conversation. It's typically not going to be an interview. Yes, they're going to be asking questions, but like that's how conversational, like it's not just journalist and famous person or like interviewee.
It's a
that's not
podcast.
how that works anymore. It's fucking weird. I didn't like it.
You're a fly on the wall essentially to a conversation of hanging out with somebody, which is why I know a lot of our audience is probably going to understand exactly where we're coming from because that's what they love about it. They're like, I feel like I'm with my girlfriends having this conversation. And guess what? Again, like you said, maybe not everyone's going to agree with it at that moment, but does that mean like, okay, I'm never going to listen to you again? No, because that's what happens between your friends or who you like and listen to. The people who don't see it and just are out with their pitchforks, like don't even have the context behind anything.
That's so like, I don't know. I guess I can't, not to be like all high and mighty, but it's just like, I can't like relate to that because, and I've tried to put myself in those people's shoes, but again, whenever someone makes a comment, you know, like a hot take, I'm like, that doesn't apply to me. I don't care. And maybe it's just because I don't want to say I'm a careless person, because I'm not. I care a lot, which is a great movie. You should watch it. Has Peter Dinklage in it. So good. But
It is so good.
oh my God, it's on Netflix, I think, right? Yes, it's a Netflix movie. It's wild to me that people will get so offended on things where it's like, they don't know you. That wasn't about you. What are you talking about? And so I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so like emotionally evolved, because I'm not. Tony and I drove by our old house, the first house we bought, the one that we like, not to be weird, but the one we conceived being in. It was our first house that we bought after being married. And like we were there for 7 years, and like so much of our relationship happened in that house. And we like rode down the street in the golf cart. We had Bean. We were coming home from the park. And like we, you know, circled back around and came back, and, you know, going through like the neighborhood and like seeing how it had changed. And, you know, this house got painted, this one got torn down, that's a new house, blah, blah, blah. And I started crying on the way home, and I was like, it's like changed so much. And, you know, that neighborhood compared to our new one is like so different. And like this one's so family oriented. Our neighbor across the street in that neighborhood was a crackhead. God bless them. But like, and then like next door was like a 7-time war veteran. Like what the, it was a fine neighborhood. It was okay. But yeah, it's just crazy. And like, I will cry at anything. I'm not emotionally involved. I mean, that could mean I am, but it's like, whenever I hear something like that, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know the context. Or it's like, I'm always asking more questions. I feel like, and I think that's a healthy thing to do of, oh, well, she said this on the podcast. And it's like, okay, well, what were they talking about? Or who was the guest? Or, well, what does that guest do?
Yes.
Like with Aspen Ovard, she was talking more about like being on the internet forever, and, you know, have like with like your kids and getting married young. Like that's really what the gist of like the entire conversation was basically. And like Mormonism and growing up in Utah, and how she's not Mormon, but like her family is sometimes, and all that. And like going through divorce. And so that's what it was geared towards. But with Harry, almost called him Connor. He looks like a Connor.
He kind of does, doesn't he?
No, literally change your name. Your government name's Connor. Congratulations. So with Connor, he, with Harry Jowsey, he like, it's serial dating, you know, show type of guy. And he is very open about sex stuff. So that's what the questions were.
Literally said, even like on the first like minute of like being on the podcast, like how many times like he's had sex on every reality show that he's been on camera, like, and
Well,
she's
yeah,
like,
go
what does your
off,
family
whatever,
think
that's the
about
name of
that?
the
And he's
game.
like, they think it's funny, you know, like, so for everyone like coddling him and making him feel like making him say like this victim that was so uncomfortable, and like she's a
he's so
groomer or whatever,
uncomfortable.
2
No, he's
years
not. He had a
apart,
great
like
time.
get out of here. He had the time of his life. I'm over
Yeah,
it. Literally,
I
he
didn't
did
get
have the
that he
time of
was-
his life, because he's did a live today that I sent you. I'm like, not him being on live right now. Everyone losing it in the comments, being like, talk about the podcast. And then he's like playing Smooth Operator, and he's just like lip syncing to it. And Desi's like, what podcast? And then I didn't like this. He did talk about the podcast that everyone's kind of like being like, see, he was talking about like God in this other podcast after that one. And that was like the most recent one he's done.
With the two guys.
And then so he's like, yeah, go listen to it. And they're like, we mean Avery. And then he would answer other questions and not that. And like, he's trolling. Like, obviously he's so fine, and he's sitting there. I'll play a clip.
Talk about the podcast. Okay, so there's an episode out right now with me and Daniel CV. It's a really good podcast. He talks about his lawsuit that he's got going on. It's not good. It's horrible. They got taken advantage of. His new album is coming out, which is great. Which is awesome. So please listen to the podcast. Wait, Alex and Alex drama? Shut up. Actually, to be honest, I don't know any drama that's going on. I am so out of the loop. I love the girls. Again, you guys keep asking about the podcast. It's a really good episode. So I'm glad you guys are asking about it. It's really good.
And one point that I made with the first time we tried to film this episode, also, hey, sorry, this is a day or two late, but we'd rather be a day or two late than not have a good episode. The thing is like with Harry, he didn't start out as an influencer. He started out as a reality TV personality. And those two worlds are so different. And the parasocialness, not only the connection you feel and have with your audience, but also the monetization that is tied to that parasocial aspect in regards to being an influencer versus being a reality TV star. Like, you have so much more disconnect as a reality TV star rather than being an influencer. And obviously Avery Woods is an influencer. It's just that, it's the misogyny, it's people just looking at one clip and being like, oh my gosh, he looks so uncomfortable. If you watch the entire podcast, no, he's not. He's having a great time.
He doesn't. He's having a great time. And he's the one who's like hitting on her arguably more, you know, like, and her being like, calm down, like my husband, you know, like, and
oh my God,
just,
stop
if you
it.
understand
Also,
her and you've watched it, and she'd be like, also, David, are you watching? Hey, did we get a clip that he said I was a size small? Yeah, like, I just watch the freaking episode. I think that's the moral of this episode, please.
Well, like,
and guess what? If you don't know her, then it's not going to make any sense. So watch other ones or just don't at all. And then don't get on your high horse acting like you know what happened.
Well, and also like the way people get so up in arms and are like, you need to repent, you need to do this. What if I don't believe in your God? And listen, I believe in my God because they ain't the same, okay? They'll get so upset and be like, you're, you know, offending me and blah, 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 or you are disrespecting my views, whatever. And it's like, okay, but you're disrespecting my views. Freedom of religion and opinion and freedom of speech, babe. Like, sure, you can have your opinion and tell me to shut up, but I'm not going to. And I really hope Avery doesn't, because I do think that this is quite possibly the loudest of a like controversy and noise, so to speak, that she's received. Hey, I have a question. I need you to come here. Hey, here's the test. Hey, this isn't a trick question. This is research. Would you have sex with Sherilyn? There we go. See?
Yeah, thank you. Feelings mutual.
No, Sherilyn, it was for the podcast. It was for research because the person recovering. So I don't know if we were able to include where... Is that hairspray? That is hairspray. That's not good. Anyways, it's like crusty, like not shiny right here because there's like the speckled hairspray. Anyways, babe came in here, said goodnight as he usually does. He unfortunately had to shave his beautiful facial hair. I might cry about it. I'm so upset. I love his facial hair is so perfect and pristine. Now he looks like he's 23. He's still sexy. It's fine. But no, he came in and said goodnight, whatever. And I was having him say hi to Sherilyn, and I asked him for research purposes, of course. And I said, hey, look at Sherilyn. Look at her. Look at how hot she is. Would you have sex with her? And he's like, yeah. And she was like, same, right back at you, babe. Feelings mutual. And that's okay. Get it. I would too. But it's also like,
and does that mean that, like, are we going to or ever would? Like, no. That's the whole thing of it with the comments in Avery's video when people are just like, and then she cheated on her husband. Don't try to tell me they didn't cheat. And it's like, what?
Listen.
If you're living in a world where you think that your husband or your partner or whatever just automatically stops like being attracted to other people, like that's
delusional.
Yeah, it's just not reality.
Absolutely delusional. And it's crazy that those same people are like, oh, she's so insecure. Is she or are they? And again, I don't know where she could be, but it's like, to me, it's not and after watching more of her content and her content with her husband, it's not giving insecure. It's giving confident and secure in a marriage.
A lot of confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. And a healthy, fun, like it seems like they have grown up together, even though, yes, he is 6 years older than her. But still, I mean, it seems like they have done a lot of like growing up together. And I feel like that's what happens when you're together in your 20s. And unfortunately, sometimes you grow up and grow apart, or you grow up and grow together, right? It's just like weird takes, in my opinion. And hey, if you are not comfortable with your spouse saying, yeah, your friend's hot or something like that, then okay, cool, I guess. I don't know that, but that's none of my business. That's your relationship. But also, guess what? You're not married to Avery Woods and her husband, so it does not affect you. It does not matter.
Yeah,
Who
to
cares?
get that upset about it and be like, the shame. Your husband, your kids, the shame. Like,
girl, they ain't.
Again, I don't get it.
They ain't worried about it, all right? They're worried about if they remembered to clean their butt plugs.
For sure, like several times. They definitely did that night because she looked fire when they did like the after like celebration with the photo of her husband with Harry. I'm like, goodness, you in that red dress. Like, yeah, they boned for sure.
it just fucking reminds me of, good God, of when people who want, no offense, Josh, sorry, he doesn't watch this, but he also posts not way too many videos. He posts so many videos and is so busy, he's concerned with himself, not me. That's normal. But when I was like more of colleagues with Josh of Dad Challenge podcast, like his audience base was not younger, feral bi married women, which now it's feral bi mommies. But like we have a very similar demographic. Me and him did not. So he would have, not to be like it was older women, but according to the analytics, it was. They hated me.
Hated you.
So they would come to my comment section or even our comment section and be like, who is this? Ew, she has lip injections and long nails. How does she wipe her butt? And I'm like, hey, Janice, why are you so focused on my asshole? That's crazy. You're more focused on me wiping my ass than I am.
Literally.
Concerning, ma'am. But also this person, Darius419, said, witchcraft and leaving you body by demonic influence is sinful. And you need to get delivered in Jesus' name. Again, with the illiterate behavior. And I said, Jesus thinks you're cringe. And then another one, B52270, said, you're extremely ignorant about the Bible. Jesus wouldn't be in agreement with LBGQ+. LBG? Thanks for making me the second one, but you're kind of forgetting, you got the plus, but you're forgetting, I mean, I guess they added in queer, but you forgot the T, babe. She was one of the OGs. Calm down. There are plenty of biblical scriptures that speak against homosexuality and focused on specific roles for men and women. Being against the LBGQ indoctrination movement doesn't make someone a hater. It's a moral and ethical difference in the way we choose to play out our gender roles in our families and society. Babe, me enjoying licking a vagina as my husband watches has nothing to do with gender roles in our family and in our household and who unloads the fucking dishwasher or who mows the lawn. Okay? That's just a fun Saturday night. Anyways.
That's wild.
Yeah. Thank God our recent election was a sign of the turning away from radical liberal values you highly espouse. You don't know what that last word means. Shut the fuck up. And I said, but Jesus told me it's okay that I like vaginas and only one penis. Nice try, Satan. You're not getting me today. I was going to say nice try, Diddy, but I didn't think they would think that was funny. They didn't think any of this was funny.
None of them do.
Yeah. So.
But I think this is a really good example because like this is what, like when Avery's saying things, when you're saying like this, these are the examples. This is the examples. These are what she's talking about, not about like what you believe. And if you're like accepting and
if
being
like,
oh, not all of them are like this. Like it's, yes, it's like, this is what she was saying. So if this does not qualify you, not about you.
Yeah.
And if it does, don't be here, please. And don't be there, please. If you would ever say this on somebody's page, podcast, go somewhere else. Please, please, please.
As our Lord and Savior Sabrina Carpenter would say, a lot of people were also so prudish and offended, which also like, how are you going to be prudish and offended by anything she says? But like, act like you watch her content when clearly you don't. By her saying that, her imagining, because Harry DM'd Sabrina Carpenter.
I know.
That story
killed me. Literally, I have it in the notes. I like died. And then he's like, I know that she saw it because her best friend messaged my sister or something like
Girl,
that.
He has no shame in regards to that. He has unsent a few, but that's unhinged and hilarious. I love it. And you know what? I co-sign that because I have also DM'd extremely famous people and been left on red. It's fine. Anyways, so she was like, oh my God, picturing you two together. Ooh, like how short she is and how tall you are.
Yes, the height difference. She's like, oh yeah, that's got me like hot and bothered. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, listen to the episode, please. Like, if you're here, like, and have always been here, not like just here because like you saw the title and you like don't know who the fuck we are, then like this is irrelevant. But like our people, like our Clout queens, kings, and in betweens, like please, literally go watch it. I guarantee if you like us, if you love us, you're gonna like the podcast.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Especially now that it's been like edited, but then you have context behind it. Again, don't have to agree with those those specific ones that were, in my opinion, taken out of context. Like she was just.
But also when
she went a little bit out of control.
Out of bounds, yeah. But also when it is out of context, it's like, oh God, yeah, no, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But then when you even do have it in context, it's like, okay, maybe a little bit too far. Let's not do that.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have said, yeah.
And also, hey, should we make like a passing joke about, how your vagine isn't all, messed up because you had a C-section? Probably not. But it's also like,
I feel like she's like me though, and I already said that. I'm like, it's literally all we have. Everything else is so damaged and beat up.
Yeah. Hey,
just destroyed.
But like I've said, girl, I'm still squishy.
Yeah, but no, it's so bad. It's the cut with the draping and then you got to pull it up and clean it. It's really not fun.
But
it's really gross.
But also it's because we have the short torsos. So yes, if you have a short torso and you so another thing though too is that I think it's important to keep in mind, like, she is and of course if you're offended by it, go off. Okay, fine, your feelings are valid. But people will use the argument of like, well, she shouldn't say that, like she's in, she was a pediatrics nurse or whatever, like she delivered babies. And it's like, okay, but also then like she has even said before, she's like, no, I'm very like anatomical. I said it right.
Yeah.
I know how to read and write. Shut up. It's very much that, and I can kind of relate to that because I am that way as well a lot of the time. Like I will one of my best friends, she'll never watch this because I don't want anyone to. You guys are fine, but no one I know personally should ever watch this. If you know me personally, log off. We had like a crazy day drinking day, and her and I were talking about something, and she's like, we got to stop. My husband's getting all boned up listening to us. And I was like, let's keep going, girl. Listen, I'm trying to have y'all have a fun night. They got two kids under 3 or under 4. So I was like, let's keep going. Y'all better have a great night tonight. You don't have the kids all weekend. Let's go. And so I just kept the conversation going, and he was just like, I'm sorry, what? What's happening? And then what? And I'm like, this is crazy. And Tony and I were dying laughing about it the next day. And she texted me, or I saw them in the grocery store the next day. And she was like, I'm bending over right now because it hurts. And I was like, what hurts? And she's like, my butt. And I was like, excuse me? And her husband comes around the corner in Publix in the grocery store and goes, yeah, I slipped a finger in there last night. And he was like, I didn't even think she noticed. And I was like, what? And I was like, girl, you have a hemorrhoid. That's what that is. And she's like, no, something else. And then like the next day, she was like, it was a hemorrhoid. You're right. And I was like, when are you going to learn? Girl, we've been best friends since 6th grade. I know your anus better than you. I was like, do you want me to come look at it? And she's like, no. And I was like, do you want me to drop off some medication? And she's like, yes. But yeah, it's just super interesting because it's like, I've never felt uncomfortable about that. Like we have that friendship and stuff. And it's, I don't know, it's just people are weird and I don't get it, man. But listen, that's not my business to get it. That's my relationship.
And that's it.
And it's okay.
And it's theirs, and it's theirs, and it's yours,
and it's yours, and it's ours, and it's us, and it's them. I love when we do that. Why do we do that? And it's me, and you're here, and I'm here, and we're here, and you're here.
But it makes sense because it's just like that's it.
Because we all are here.
So, you guys, this is kind of how I want to finish off.
I would love for you to finish me off.
I know you would. If this is the last episode, it's been a slice.
It's not, because guess what? Even if no one's listening, we're going to keep going.
I literally was going to say, because we have a lot to talk about. Actually, I'm really excited to talk about, you guys know how Chelsea and I love to get in like mistress talk or like cheating talk.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
I've been dying.
Okay, so I'm going to have Kelly do 2 separate outlines then. Because I want you to like surprise me with it. I want to be completely shocked.
I haven't put anything in anything. I have it all together. Like, no, it's not in an outline.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I put this together. I put this together for you, baby. Yeah, no, I'm ready to go.
It's like a present.
Yeah, so
okay, so good. That. So then you have that. And then I am surprising you with very specific updates about so many of the topics we've covered.
I love that. I love an
Yeah.
update. Okay, great. Okay, so we have
Yeah.
our outline, and then we have the tangent time, and we hope to see you there. If we don't, we understand.
I've been
I
texting with
hope.
Sepia Bride all day.
Right. Yes, you have. We have updates there. Okay, I'm excited.
Her parents
We
are
have more to
so
talk about.
rich. Her parents went on a like I got so many questions for her. Her parents went on a 2-week vacation to some rich, like, White Lotus type people have been murdered there. That's the vibe I get.
Wait, didn't White Lotus just? Oh, I think there's a new app. I gotta watch that. Sorry.
There is, yeah. Oscar and Trisha were just talking about it. Oh, and tonight I have to start watching Traitors because you told me to watch it. And because that's all Oscar and Trisha talk about.
God, it's so good. Okay, so we have a lot to catch up with in the next episode. So we will see you then.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
So excited.
If there's
so excited for you to see it.
If you've made it this
I'm
far, if there's certain topics or people you want us to like check in on, please put it in the comments below, and then I'll go through and like see if there's any updates. But there are like 4 that I have updates for, but please include them.
I love a good update. We would love to hear your thoughts, because you know what I think.
Would we?
I do, because I think that like our audience specifically, like the people who are here and like who have been here, like we weren't being catapulted on like the Unwell network of like bringing people in who like had no idea, right? Like everybody that's here at this point in our career, there are people, right? So I think like even if they disagree, they're understanding, and then I think that they have like the due diligence enough to like be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I didn't see it all, and I've heard the clip and I want to hear the context, but I'd love to hear the thoughts like in just like a productive way. Like I'm so over the like the cancellation, the this of it all, and the I'm gonna pray for you and like I hate you and I'm never gonna like I'm unsubscribed, unfollowed, repent. Like if you feel a certain way, like then I want to hear it like in a productive, I don't know, like kind of way, I guess.
In a productive and logical and assertive way. And if you're not able to put those thoughts together without interjecting your emotion-fueled your emotions, then let it cook, as the kids say. I've been listening to way too much Brooke and Tana. They say let her cook far too often. I'm so old. But let her cook for like a few days, maybe 1, 2, an hour, who knows? And then come back to it. And if you still feel the same way, then okay. And we can talk about it. And just keep in mind that when this girl don't respond to comments from her own thing, she does, but not from the Here for the Clout one, because, you know, the internet and all that. But whenever we are responding to anything, unless you are someone screaming at me to repent in all caps, that's me trolling. That's hilarious. But you might read it, because if you already don't like me, you're going to be like, oh, she's being a bitch. And it's like, no, I'm not. I quite literally am sitting here with the most stone cold face, stone cold Steve Austin, baby. Just the most stone cold autismo face, no emotion behind any of my words. But of course, I'm going to be misconstrued and be painted as a bitch, and that's fine.
You're used to it.
That's my red letter to bear, baby. But yeah, I mean, just please understand that we can have a logical conversation, and maybe we can understand where each other's coming from. But unfortunately, there are those people who will try to be like, you don't like this? Well, you're canceled. Or you support Trisha Paytas? Well, canceled. I don't like the way you talk about her. Okay, cool. We can like different things. We don't have to like all the same shit. And it's fine. You're a big girl. Yeah. You can handle yourself. It's okay. You don't have to be super connected to every single person that every piece of content is produced by that you enjoy. And it's going to be okay.
It is. We're all going to be okay.
And look how hot Sherilyn looks.
I hope we see you again.
Are you going to sing the song from...
The Sun Will Come Out?
Nope, not that one from Fast and the Furious. It's been a long time.
Without you, my friend. No, we've literally... The marathon this weekend, you guys. I can't. The marathon. The marathon every weekend, every day of my life.
TNT, TBS, KFC, FTC.
They're all.
Why is that the only thing you're
them all? He's got them all subscribed so that he can watch Fast and the Furious every forking day. Every forking day. If you don't believe me, go to my Instagram stories, because I'm not lying.
So it's that, Shawshank Redemption, which love that, and Forrest Gump, and there's like a few others that they constantly have on repeat. I mean, they're bangers for sure. Like someone's gonna watch them, Like, listen,
who's watching Fast and the Furious franchise every freaking day?
Your husband.
Besides my husband. It just doesn't add up to me like money for the network wise.
I have a question. Why do you have cable? I don't have cable.
I'm trying to get rid of it. I got sucked in again by a salesperson that sold me like you just did. And I got like all the security cameras and everything when I called to cancel. Not only did I not cancel, I got the cameras and I upped the amount.
Wait.
I don't want to talk about it.
What?
I want to go.
They sold you a Verizon sold you a security system? What the fuck?
It wasn't Verizon.
It was one of them.
It was our Canadian equivalent.
Okay, listen, when
I was in charge of canceling. And Brent's like,
oh my God.
How did it go? And I was like,
they give us one responsibility and we've like changed our social security numbers.
The guy comes on Friday. The guy comes on Friday to install the security cameras. And we got more channels.
So, hey, if you are still here, why? Also, thank you. But if you want to go to Avery Woods, I don't know, her Instagram, her TikTok, not the YouTube. I don't think she's ever going to step foot in the comment section again. But if you want to go in there and be like, hey, the Here for the Clout podcast and tag us said that you were I don't know, a hot feral mom or something.
Yes, a hot feral mom. Because she's not even a clout queen. Hot feral mommy. A hot feral mom. I love that.
I mean, that's like what her fan base should be. It's so confusing to me. Oh my God. I need to get this broad. I keep saying that, by the way. I need to get this broad to bed. If you haven't heard, by the way, we are not meeting up in March and we're going to meet up somewhere super romantical and special with our husbands in another place, but in May. So y'all will get too much in-person content in May, and the Patreon will get another unhinged travel vlog that I have to
overloaded. Guaranteed. It's not even going to be just like the one. It's just going to be like every day getting ready live and our husbands at the pubs live.
Girl, not live of them too. That needs to be highly edited.
Yeah, that's true. Give me anxiety.
I cannot. But yeah,
how many times can you hear my husband say, yeah, buddy?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're going to strap GoPros to them. It's going to be great. Also, hey, if y'all are offended that whenever I reference something and I point to the screen and then there's just text on the screen that says, nope, from our editor, it's none of my business.
I don't think they're offended. I think it just like makes them understand you even more because
it's on brand for sure.
It's definitely on brand. Okay, we gotta go. We have to go. You gotta go.
Hey, what's the outro again? Stay delusional, stay feral, damn the man,
save the empire.
Damn the man, save the empire.
Okay, we love you. Goodbye.
Love
Sherilyn,
you, bye.
shake your titties. Come on. That's just your shoulders.
Yeah, what?
That was hard.